Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the pipeline. I'm here joined today again. I'm very happy that he's back again. Toxic Taz. How's it going, Taz?
I am doing well, man. I am doing well. How are you? Great to be back. Thank you once again for having me back on the channel, on the stream. It's always a fun time.
I know it's probably been a while since you've done any kind of stream on anybody's channel. It's probably been a bit.
Oh
Um,
yeah, no, I mean maybe 24 hours or so.
yeah, man, it was really fun seeing you over on the Party Nation podcast, where I'm there like 70% of the time, maybe, but it was really cool seeing you over there and seeing these two worlds mash up a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. It was fun to fill in for you, but definitely missed you over there. We could have had like 7 people on at once. Would have been
Seven's a
even more
lot.
fun. It
Speaking of 7, there's exactly 7 people watching right now, so I want to thank everyone who has tuned in.
Hello chat.
Chosen Vader in the chat, Stranger in the chat. This guy in the chat, don't know who he is.
I don't know, weirdo.
Levi here. Great to see everyone here and talking and chatting. Everyone knows you now, which makes me very happy.
It's good.
Uh,
It's good.
yeah, I never. Oh man, I need to get better at starting these things because like normally I want to jump right in and. But I feel like most people like when they do podcasts, they like chillax and like ease their way in a little bit. I think I need some better like segues.
Yeah, no, we just gotta chill, relax, let the chat come in, kind of just,
Yeah.
decompress from the day, see how everybody's going, see how the chat's going, see how we're doing, and then, just find the greatest segues into our first topics.
Yeah. So, anyways, no, I was kidding. I was kidding. No, I did really want to. I want to like start like an update kind of segment at the start of these videos to talk about all the things I got planned or want to say. Um, First off the bat, I just want to thank everyone who wished me a happy birthday over the course of the last week or so. Meant a lot to me. From like here to Twitter, like to just like Facebook and stuff. I probably had like over 100 like people like say something, and that's always a real cool thing to see. I also just want to shout out. It's June. It's Pride Month. That's always really cool. Over on Twitter, I am doing like a quote like every day, which I'm just now seeing that I didn't do it today, so I will be missing my first day, but that's fine. Um, and then just streams for like the rest of this week. We will be live on Friday talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I'm very excited for, with my buddy Everest. First time on the channel in probably about like 3-4 years now, so it's really cool to have him back. And then potentially we're going to do our first watch party. I planned to do that last week. Didn't happen. But we're going to try and jump into some Doctor Who episodes, which I'm very excited to do so. But Taz, how are you? Are you doing well? Are you chilling at least a little bit?
Yes. No, I'm doing well, feeling good. Just been, thinking about all the great content we're gonna make going forward in these last few episodes of the shows and everything like that. Been planning out my video for later this week and hope to get that out in a timely manner. But aside from that, just chilling, doing what I normally do.
Stranger says 61 years ago today, Spider-Man debuted. What is your favorite version of the character? I think we've talked about this quite a bit over the last week or so. But like,
Yeah.
what's your favorite Spider-Man?
Ooh, so I would say I'm gonna do a cop out answer and give you like three answers. So
Yeah.
if we were going live action, I would have to obviously say Tobey Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
If we were doing just like an overall interpretation of the character, I think Insomniac's version of
Yeah.
Spider-Man from the games is actually like perfect. Is about as close to
Yeah.
perfect as you can get. And then animation, you got to go back to the classic, the '90s animated series. So there's my three, but I'd say if I had to pick like a singular one out of those,
Yeah.
I would have to go with the Insomniac Spider-Man. Actually,
Interesting. I think I'd go
just
the same way. I think I would go PS4 Spider-Man because he is just like what I imagine Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
I like that when I think of Spider-Man, I probably think of that version. And if we're going live action, I do really like Andrew. I think Andrew is kind of, even if those movies weren't what I wanted them to be, like when I think of live action Spider-Man, that is the one I kind of think of. I think he does have that heart and soul of who Spider-Man ultimately is, which I love. But there's not too many I dislike. I think I think usually they get it right most of the time, even if
Oh yeah.
the ultimate product isn't, up to par with what people want. Um, Miata in the chats. Miata, how's it going? It's great to see you. Andrew Garfield will always be my favorite Spider-Man. I get it, man. I like Andrew Garfield. I wish he'd come back in something. Give him like an animated project or something. Cool.
I just want him to be the Spider-Man of like the Sony universe, like with like Venom and stuff like that. Like that would be perfect. But
they need someone. I don't even care who it is. If it's like Peter, if it's Miles, if it's Gwen, like they need a Spider-Man, or none of. I don't think anything that they're doing will work. Stranger said that they like Spectacular Spider-Man. Do you like that show?
Yes, I do. I really do like Spectacular Spider-Man. My brother is a massive Spectacular Spider-Man fan, but yeah, I really enjoyed that series as well.
I bought it on DVD. I bought a year ago. I bought.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I bought the whole set. I haven't finished it yet.
I definitely have like one of those like half completed sets, like where it's like volume 1 or something.
Oh,
and it's got
those.
like a random set of like 10 episodes. Then you just like rewatch the same episodes over and over again.
Miata says Tom and Andrew. Great choice. Stranger says Tom. The Amazing Spider-Man movie is mine. Well, I'm glad that you like that. I need to watch Spectacular Spider-Man. Me too.
Yes.
I finished almost all of season 1, and I thought it was amazing. I just never went back for some reason. Favorite movie for Andrew and for Tom is Homecoming. Well, only Tom was in Homecoming. But, I'm glad you like Homecoming, because I'm a pretty big Homecoming fan as well.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest. I think it's one of the best one this world has to offer. Speaking of worlds, I tried to fit it in.
There you go. Great segue.
No, man. So Captain America, man, I've been really excited for this upcoming Captain America movie. I love Sam. I love the whole like Captain America trilogy. It's probably my favorite superhero trilogy ever, until next March probably. So Captain America has officially been changed from New World Order to Captain America Brave New World. What is your opinion on this?
I was, I guess, not shocked that they changed the title, just because I feel like that's been a discussion for a while. I'm just kind of shocked that they kind of revealed it in this very like casual way. It's just like, all right, I think Anthony Mackie just posted this picture of just him on set.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, here, look at the set chair, and it's just a completely different title than the one that we revealed a while back. I don't have a problem with the new title. I think they both work. But I think this one's maybe a bit more of like a positive connotation to it.
Sure.
Because maybe New World Order could be, in reference to whatever villainous side of things is going on here. But I think Brave New World is definitely a much more like, I guess, a positive title.
Sure. I think, I know that there was like controversy around it, and I'm not going to like pretend like I'm an expert in knowing exactly why. I would definitely say I prefer that other title, because I think that's a very cool sounding title. But I definitely get why you would want to change it. I wonder if people, because I feel like not a lot, unless you're like on Twitter like us, you're not going to know this was a title change. So I wonder when like Comic-Con like rolls around, or like when they drop these new trailers, will people be like, oh, I thought it was like New World Order. I guess it's not. So that's going to be interesting. Would that affect anything? Probably not. I don't know.
I would say my a revamped title would be just Captain America, but the A is a 4. Super simple.
Maybe. I mean, it's still called Cap 4, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is Captain America 4, so I'd, just replace the A with a 4. The 4 kind of looks like an A, so just Captain America. It's nice and clean.
Maybe,
nice and simple.
maybe. Yeah, yeah. I think both are fine. Like if that was like the like original title, I'd think nothing of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem if they never
Um,
changed it.
yeah, it's whatever.
I'll still watch the movie regardless.
Sure. No, I'm very excited. I think it's still my like most anticipated MCU movie at least going forward.
What do you think of
Um,
the updated
sorry.
suit? I'm sorry, I know you're
No, no, no.
continuing, but I just
That no, it's
meant
fine.
saw the suit. I was like, oh yeah, it is a new suit.
Yeah, I mean, I love the other one. Like, I think the other one was perfect. Like, like that's in my top 4 comic book suits of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as both are being used here, I guess I don't really care. But if
Yeah.
they like literally don't use the other suit at all, I'm gonna be a little upset. And it also makes me very scared for Spider-Man 4 because
Mm.
they gave Spider-Man literally the perfect suit
Right.
at the end of the
Right.
movie. And I'm so scared. Like I understand you want to make toys, that's fine. But then just wait to give him this like like you could have like swapped these suits.
Yeah. I'm just hoping this is like the stealth suit, and we
Yeah,
still see that other or the suit from Falcon and Winter Soldier, because this does look a lot like that Captain America Winter Soldier stealth suit.
sure. Yeah, I'm fine with multiple suits. That's not a
Oh yeah,
that's not an issue for me.
just more
Uh,
Funkos.
sure. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse swung into theaters this past week. I actually saw it again this morning, and I love
Oh,
it even more. I'll be honest, I really love this movie a lot. And you know, obviously our main villain being Spot, which I thought he did a great job. Thought he was a really fun and unique villain of the week. So apparently there was this running gag where he goes into like a Spider-Man villain bar, and that's like part of the like end credit scene. Is him meeting up with all these villains and beating them up. What are your thoughts on this?
it sounds like something from a How It Should Have Ended video.
Yeah,
And I feel like now that this is out there, they're definitely gonna do this in their video for this movie whenever it comes
sure.
out. But that's the just instantly what I thought of. It was like, oh, the supervillain bar. It's like just it's
Yeah,
just how it should have ended.
yeah. I think they've literally done a video exactly like that. Like
Yeah,
I think there's
yeah.
been like superhero bars and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Um, No, it sounded fun. Like this sounds like a thing that could just be like a short, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
could be kind of fun.
Yeah, or like a special feature or whatever.
Sure. Or even like in the like deleted scenes of like the like DVD. I would be
Yeah,
fine
yeah.
with. I know there's supposed to be a like a short film for this movie as well,
Mm.
which I'm wondering, is that released to the public at some point, or is that like just at like film conventions and stuff like that?
I don't know. I would hope maybe we'd see it on like the Blu-ray or something, possibly.
Yeah, I was wondering. Like, I kind of went into it, expecting it to be like you know how like Pixar does their like shorts
Mm-hmm,
at
mm-hmm.
like the start of the movie. I kind of thought we'd start with that, and then we'd go into the actual movie. Um, but I guess not. I'm curious when and if we're going to see that. Yeah, I don't know. Moving on here, breaking news, massive news, the biggest news that we've ever talked about. Becky G has joined the cast of the Blue Beetle as the Scarab. How angry are you that they casted a woman, Taz? Are you angry? Are you
It,
furious?
it is a great casting, I think, because she's a singer and she's lending her voice to the Scarab. So I think it fits perfectly. Plus she was in that Power Rangers movie that's super
She
underrated.
was.
So that's
Yeah.
literally the only thing I've ever seen her in.
That's all I know. I've
Yeah.
not listened to a single one of her songs.
Yeah, neither have I.
This is that DC Power Rangers crossover coming into live action. So if that's like a lead into that, I'm down.
Yeah, and the Blue Beetle
Um,
suit kind of looks like a Power Ranger suit anyway.
it
So
does
it's
actually.
perfect. It actually fits
That would actually
super
be a fun
well.
crossover. Blue Beetle and Power Rangers. That'd be kind of fun. Let me see what people are talking about. Stranger loved Spider-Man 2, enjoyed it. I'm glad to see that
Yes.
that you enjoyed it.
I can tell from the profile picture. Yo boy, Spider-Man 2099. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I really liked Spider-Man 2099. I thought he was really threatened and a great character in this movie. Yeah, I think he did it was a fun job at. I think he was on that line perfectly of just like antagonist and villain. Like he doesn't quite cross that villain line, but he's really really close.
And he also has a great theme.
He does. I didn't listen. I don't know what the theme was, but I bet it was great.
It was really good. It was a reference. It's not really a spoiler. The theme's out there. It's a reference to the Spider-Man Unlimited theme song.
Oh,
So it's kind of like
fun.
a riff on that, which was really cool. I was very happy when I heard it the first time.
Very fun. So we literally talked about this last week. Like
Yeah.
this is the same, practically the same screenshot.
Yep.
But it does seem like it is not official yet. We'll probably literally talk about the same thing in like 2 weeks. But Andy Muschietti is reportedly set to direct Batman: The Brave and the Bold. That's a little bit more than just our theories and like the whole rumors. And I saw a lot of people not happy about this happening, and I was a little bit confused because, I mean, I guess a thing that we'll talk about in a second might alter that a little bit. But like, are you still okay with this man directing this movie?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think the fact that he's already directing two different versions of Batman that we know of in the Flash right now. I mean, what better of a director to get than somebody who's already worked with Batman, kind of rebooting this universe anyway. So I feel like that's a great call there, and it seems like the Flash is going to be a very spectacular movie as far as like Speed Force stuff goes and
Yeah,
everything like that. And the Brave and the Bold seems to be more of like the fantastical take on Batman, rather than the grounded, more gritty take of the Matt Reeves movies. So I think as long as the Flash movie itself is as good as everybody says it is, Andy Muschietti is a great choice here.
yeah. No, I think that this is a. And again, I'm sorry about that. I'm very curious to see this movie first before I'm like, this is the best choice, because like, who knows, this movie could suck. We don't know. But I think getting a director that has worked with Batman a lot, or like a little bit, and has worked with kids, and I'm very curious to see if we have how many superheroes are in this movie, because we know Superman Legacy is like supposed to be having multiple other superheroes, and it feels like Brave and the Bold, at least from what I know from the show, and what it seems like they're doing with this DC universe. I wonder how many superheroes are going to pop in or be a part of this movie.
Yeah, I would hope that it's a Bat family centric story, because we've already got Damian Wayne as Robin, which means Dick Grayson has been Robin, which means Jason Todd has most likely been Robin, died, come back, and is Red Hood at this point.
Sure.
We might have a Batgirl out there. We, have probably already had a Tim Drake Robin at some point as well. So I feel like we're at a point in Batman's career where the Bat family has expanded. So there's definitely that opportunity to bring in Bat family members, but also maybe establish the wider DCU a little bit more
Sure.
too. Just because again, Batman's been around for a while. It seems like he's seen quite a bit. So what better time to flesh out this new DCU than with Batman?
Yeah, no. I wonder if we could even get some bits of like Titans in here, some like a Starfire cameo or something.
That could be fun.
If we do have a Dick Grayson, like I'm kind of just assuming we're going to have Dick Grayson in this movie.
Oh yeah, no, I know. We're just kind of assuming that all these
Yeah.
other Robins exist because we're going to Damian Wayne, and they could certainly just get rid of everybody else and say Damian Wayne is Robin. That's it. But I highly doubt that.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a real missed opportunity. And you know what I think this is really the time area in Batman that we don't see a lot. Like we see a lot of those year ones, those years twos, and then also like the end of his career where he like everyone's old and Batman's old and Dick's, like whatever. So I think this like middle ground where he's like in his 30s and he's training all these people and we have all these heroes around. We haven't seen a lot recently. and I'm very excited. Like we've never seen like the Bat family in live action before, and I think that this is their way of supercharging that idea, where we don't have to wait 10 years to get like Dick and Barbara and Damien and Tim all in like one scene.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely like starting at this later stage in Batman's career where we could already have all this like pre-established, I guess Bat family lore, if you will.
Sure. I've actually heard a rumor that Superman Legacy is going to be like Captain America, Civil War. I've heard that there's going to be superheroes featured in this movie. I haven't heard anything like that. Um, I don't know how I feel about like I love superheroes, and I think that we are so far with like the superhero fatigue that you do need to rush a couple of things just to get your feet moving just a little bit. But I don't know. I think this still really needs to be a Captain America or I'm sorry, a Superman movie at its core.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want too many people in here, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that they might be also like setting up or fleshing out the authority in there as well. So I feel like maybe that's also where the kind of rumors of a lot of other characters being involved in this also stems from. But I mean,
Sure.
there's also again always that possibility that maybe they establish the Superman Batman friendship. Like I hope we
Mm.
just completely skip over the oh
Well, that'd be fun.
I don't trust Superman or whatever. Like I
The
want them to
meeting.
just be I just want them to be buddies. So I think if they maybe establish that in this movie, that would be pretty fun as well.
That would be interesting if they're like already like they've already fought and they've already done all their
Yeah.
beef and now they're just yeah, that'd be interesting. I feel like if I could choose, like I would put in characters in here that are like kind of connected to Superman, but maybe not Flash and maybe not like a Wonder Woman, but like a Steel
Hmm.
or like a Martian Manhunter. Like I think a Martian Manhunter in here would fit really well.
Yeah.
Um,
And they introduced him in Man of Tomorrow, the animated movie.
mm,
When that was when they were reestablishing that animated universe, they used
sure.
Martian Manhunter in that first Superman outing as well. So that would be a really good option.
Yeah, make it like this like immigrant story almost. Um, would be very fitting for these times. But yeah, no, I'm fine with with this decision, I guess. But I won't be heartbroken if it's like not him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of people want like Sam Raimi to do this movie. So I don't know.
No, he should do
So
a horror movie in the DCU. That'd be
that'd be
fun.
cool. Give him
Maybe
like a
maybe give him
Constantine.
give or yeah or
That'd be
Justice
cool.
League Dark or a Swamp Thing or something.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think we're going to be get a lot of like scary type stuff. Like I think Swamp Thing is like a door opening, and I don't know if like Keanu Reeves is doing this Constantine
Oh yeah, I forgot
or
about that. I completely forgot about that.
Constantine's a weird one because I feel I would be shocked if we don't see a Constantine like chapter one. Like I think that's going to
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
very big like I would not be shocked if like we do a Justice League Dark as our first Justice League even. Like I could absolutely see that with like Swamp Thing being here. But again, I don't know if it's going to be Keanu Reeves version. Can we bring back Matt Ryan? Is it going to be a new guy? I have no idea.
And I hope they bring back Matt Ryan. He's like pinnacle Constantine.
That would be great. You can leave everyone else from like the Arrowverse behind. I want Matt Ryan, and I will be happy. I really would be. So up next, and I don't. This is a little outside of my demographic a little bit, but it is still like comic booky type things. So apparently there is a new animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series connected to the mutant mayhem coming out of the shadows over the Paramount Plus. I tried there, didn't really work. At some point, are you excited for this upcoming Ninja Turtles movie? Are you excited to possibly get a new show? What are your thoughts on this? Do you even like the Ninja Turtles?
Oh man, I have been a big TMNT fan for quite a while. I loved the two. I think it was the 2004 animated series was the one that I kind of started with, and that I guess branched into Fast Forward, and then the 2007, I believe, animated movie. That one was really good as well. So I've been a big TMNT fan for a while. I know they tried with the live action take and stuff, but I think trying this like Spider-Verse style animation works perfectly for these characters. I'm excited for this new movie that's coming out, and if they're going to continue that story in a an animated series, I'll be super happy as well. And it'll also give me another reason to keep Paramount Plus outside of the Halo TV show.
Yeah, it feels. I think Paramount Plus is trying their best to build up these brands that Disney Plus and HBO has.
Yeah, yeah.
With both like because they announced. I don't even remember now. They announced some other like Ninja Turtles property. I think it was like a beatbox and Rocksteady show or something weird
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I know there's rumors for like a live action something like series, which I actually would really enjoy too. But you know, I've kind of thought for a while like if this movie does well, they could obviously do your like Ninja Turtles cinematic universe and you know I think Ninja Turtles is a property that can really do that. Like I think your Ninja Turtles, your like Scooby Doo are I think just like Ninja Turtles was missing in like the pop culture medium for a little bit now.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm very down with you doing multiple movies, multiple shows. I would love like if like these shows led into these like movie events. Like you start off with this movie and then you do 2 seasons of like a show and like you set up this larger threat or you know on like, these like larger storylines and then like the movie is like the season finale almost
Ooh.
and then sets up your season 3 or like your season 4. I think that could be really fun.
I need another good TMNT game. That'd be fun. Let Insomniac make a TMNT game.
Well, they're doing that like Last Ronin game, which I'm really
Yeah,
excited for.
yeah. I heard about that. That would be interesting.
I've never touched a like teenage like comic. Like I haven't touched one before, but if I was going to, it'd be that one because that story sounds so interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah. I believe watched it on Comic Storian's channel. That's kind of how I absorb a lot of comics. Like if I'm not sure, like I'll go through, watch those videos and stuff like that, and then stuff that I really like, I'll actually like physically buy it and stuff.
Sure.
Like that's kind of what I did with Three Jokers. I know not a lot of people like that story. I really enjoyed it, but
sure.
I got like the hardcover for that, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious about this movie a lot. I'm looking forward to diving into that movie when it comes out in a couple of months. I hope it does well. I hope both this and Blue Beetle does well, and they don't steal each other's money. We'll see. Looking at chat here really quick. I don't know where this comment came from, but I feel like Barry was like Clark in the Arrowverse and Bruce is Oliver. Yeah, that's kind of always been what the fans have said. Obviously they were never able to use like a Bruce Wayne, so like they did Oliver. And then I don't know if their intention was to make Barry like a Superman. But that's almost the like dynamic that they both grew into, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Oliver was always our Batman stand-in. Bruce was kind of the Superman stand-in, and then Kara was the Wonder Woman stand-in.
Sure.
But I really liked their dynamic. I thought it was very different from our standard like DC Trinity dynamic, and they've kind of become my favorite, like, or the second favorite like Trinity, I guess.
Yeah.
In DC.
I also think it's really funny, like going into this new Flash movie where it feels like a very similar thing with Supergirl, Flash, and then Batman, which was a very similar thing with what we did over on CW. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see them because I think that could be a fun little thing. Oh, this is in reference to the promo for next week. I'm really gonna miss the like John Cryer Lex. I think like I kind of got a little tired of him by the end of Supergirl, but he will be missed.
I think early John Cryer Lex was really good. Like maybe that version could have worked on Superman and Lois, but the fact that they kind of made him a little more campy, a little more silly towards the end there, that definitely that tone just wouldn't mesh.
Yeah, I mean, I I think you can form any actor to do any role if they're
Oh
like
yeah.
given the right stuff. I heard a lot of people say like it wouldn't work, and I think you definitely can work. I think that's a talented actor. I just think it would have to be a very different version of Lex. Like it couldn't be the like I'm lovesick Lex from the end of Supergirl. That wouldn't work for me. But a very uh like like I'm the man of tomorrow, not him. Like that version of Lex, I think could have really been cool. I just think I think bringing him back every season was a mistake. Um, like he
Yeah.
became the main villain of every season of Supergirl, and I think you do that to any villain, and that kind of wears you down.
Yeah, they definitely overused him. I feel like if they used him a little bit more sparingly, after his, main season where he was the big bad first off, I think if they had, sparingly used the character a little bit more, we wouldn't maybe be in that position where they kind of were like, okay, we've kind of done everything, let's just make him silly. So,
Yeah, I think I think he was fine in Crisis, but I think he should have been gone into like the final arc of Supergirl. Like I'm fine him being the final main villain. And I guess he kind of even wasn't really like it was like Mixie was her name, I think.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with him being the final big bad. That makes sense to me. Um, but yeah, I don't know, whatever. Uh, TMNT 2012 is still my favorite version of them. That's a pretty good version.
Yeah.
I I'm very I hate I've seen a bits of everything. Like I've never
Hmm.
finished one where I'm like, oh, I've seen a bunch of this one, a bunch of this one, a bunch of this one, but I haven't started it like front to back and watched the entire shows. And I would love to do that at some point when I have free time, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Seasons 4 through 5 Lex is peak. Yeah, I think 4 is peak. I
Yeah.
think Crisis Lex is pretty peak, and then after that, I think the back half of season 5 was a little bit of a mess for me. Already, let's move into our last because we're already 35 minutes in. Let's keep this moving. So we have the Flash Rotten Tomato score. So this screenshot was taken earlier. I haven't looked since. I think it's maybe either moved up or down since then. Just right off the bat, before we really get into this, what was your reaction kind of seeing this tomato score?
Nice. No, I'm kidding. No, I I don't put much stake in Rotten Tomatoes at this point. I know how review scores can be skewed and everything like that. I'm not letting that influence my opinion of the movie whatsoever. Going into it, I know a lot of people do look at the review scores to kind of like judge if they're going to go see a movie or not. But even if it had a 0%, I was still going to go see it because it's The Flash. But that's just me.
Sure. It's such a weird one because in my head, like by this point, there was no thought in my mind where like, oh, this movie isn't going to be good. Like all the praise, like I swear, what was it 2 weeks ago? Like people started like saying, and it like this has been talked about as like the greatest comic book movie ever made, and like Tom Cruise loved it, and like Stephen King loved it, and all these people who had seen it like raved over it. It almost felt like a cult. It felt like everyone it was like mind controlled to talk about this film, and so like seeing it at 69, I was like, oh wow, okay, that's a little shocking. But I I think Rotten Tomato critics, like they are real people. Like these are real opinions that people have, and I do take a little stake in that because these aren't like people that like these aren't robots. Like these are real opinions. But at the same time, especially as like a superhero fan, like especially this year, there has to be like is this critically not loved, or will I enjoy this movie? Like my opinion when it comes to superhero movies are going to be different than someone who has seen all these movies. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm curious, and I also have to wonder how much of this is because of the controversy surrounding the movie. Because
Mm.
as a lot of the fans may not remember a lot of the controversy, you have to imagine that the critics that talk about this news and who's been watching this film for the last 5 years would remember everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I'm trying to think about how this would really influence the movie. Like I know some people will look at this score and say, "Oh, well maybe I'll wait until, it comes out on digital or whatever to go see it." But these are just kind of early reviews. Maybe these are also based off of that early version of the movie that had stuff cut from it as well. But yeah, see, it's already going up a little bit. So I think it'll probably stabilize somewhere in the like 75 to 85 range, which is still really solid. So
Sure. Yeah, I was looking at some of these reviews a little bit, and what I can gather, if you don't mind going into like
yeah,
not
totally.
spoilers, but like some of these reviews. So from what I'm seeing from a lot of people is that there's a lot of fan service from a lot of people. A lot of people said too much fan service and not enough like substance, which I think is definitely a fair criticism if that's actually the case. Um, Maybe nerd culture was a mistake. That's kind of funny. um, I've seen a lot of people talk about Ezra Miller, which again, I don't know if that should affect like reviews for a movie. I don't know if that should be like I don't know, a thing that makes a movie good or bad.
Yeah, I don't think that should play into a review at all. I think you should, especially looking at it from a critic's perspective, should separate the actor from the film or from the character in the film. They should, whatever happened behind the scenes, whatever happened outside of it, should definitely not be taken into account when you're, reviewing a movie of this type.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I could go in more here. I bet us comic book fans will love this movie.
Yeah,
It might just
yeah.
be one of those where like critics, again, like it feels like you could just have a bad taste in your mouth before going into the movie, and then when you see it, you don't have as much joy and kind of interest when you actually sit down to watch it itself. So I don't know. Um, how do I stop sharing? Uh, yeah, no, I'm very curious, and it comes out next week, man. Like it's
Yeah,
so crazy because
it's come by
just like
quick.
we've been waiting 9 years, and now it's kind of just like, oh, it's here now. Like so much like delays and so much like obviously drama and casting, and the Flash show is officially over, and I don't know, like it feels like this has been one of the main topics for us, like quote unquote content creators for the last several years and the last couple of months, especially. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of sad. Like there's part of me that's kind of sad, like, oh, it's finally about to be over. Like we have to talk about something else now.
Yeah,
We got to
yeah,
focus on, and also like I think it's hypothetically almost the start of like the like DCU as well.
yeah,
And now that we
yeah.
see this movie, we can finally focus on, okay, now what's next? And we've spent so much time almost like obsessing over this movie because like we couldn't move forward with DC until Flashpoint was out. Um, and like the old DC and also this like new DC. So yeah, I'm very curious.
Yeah, I'm excited for this movie to finally come out. Like you were saying, it's come to that release point very quickly. I feel like in the last like just like couple months leading up to it, it's just gone by very quick because there's been a lot to talk about with the Flash series ending and everything like that. But it'll definitely be interesting to see the state of the DCU after this movie, especially since it is supposed to be kind of that, goodbye to the old DCEU and kind of soft reboots into whatever James Gunn plans to do with the new DCU.
Sure. Yeah, Stranger. I'm very curious about what the audience score is going to be. I would imagine it's in the high 80s, low 90s. Seems like a appropriate spot.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie. It seems like it's made for fans, not for critics.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think not always, because I
Yeah,
think because like I'm kind of at a point with like cameo type movies where I still like them, but I am getting a little tiny bit sick of them.
Yeah, if the cameos themselves are the only thing that the movie has going for itself, maybe if they over
Sure.
rely on that as opposed to having a good story around why these cameos exist in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm kind of nervous for like the next couple eras of Marvel as well, because like this is going to be the big like multiverse
Mm-hmm.
saga, and it seems like the end is going to be filled with with like Deadpool 3 and like Secret Wars, and King Dynasty feels like it's going to be filled with cameos and like this and that, and of course I like that kind of stuff in moderation, but
Right.
yeah, Gotham Knights has been trending a bit. Like I've seen it trending most weeks, I think.
Yeah.
But I
There's
never
a
see anyone talk about it either, so I don't know why.
there's a good audience for it. I mean, if you find yourself on, I guess, Gotham Knights Twitter, like there are some very very passionate fans behind
Sure.
this show. I think it's a very niche show. But if you fall in that niche or you find something in that show that you like to gravitate towards,
Sure.
people seem to really love it. I've found aspects that I really love, and I will say I am a big Gotham Knights fan. Putting that out there.
A Gotham Knighter. I like it.
Yes.
So lastly, in our news segment, we've been going for about 45 minutes. So I do want to get through this a little bit. We had our first, I guess, official. What it was about a minute long. So I guess it was a proper trailer for Super or My Adventures with Superman. Now it's crazy because I feel like we've been waiting for the show for so long. I mean, it was announced about 2 years ago by this point. I mean, I probably have talked about this thing throughout 3 different podcasts now. Like back when I had it was like podcast on Earth X like a year ago. I talked about like this show seemingly maybe not happening when it came to like Caped Crusader, and then it got moved over to Adult Swim instead of Cartoon Network, and it's been a weird ride. But here's the first official trailer. I want to talk about it. I want to break it down just a little bit. So here we go.
I can do this. I'm gonna hide my powers and be a normal man having a normal day. Hang on. Starting now. Don't.
Everyone thinks they know the Man of Steel. But you've never seen the son of Jor-El like this before.
Who am I?
What was that?
Superman! I'd like to interview you for the Daily Planet.
Sorry, no comment.
Lois, these are the new interns. I want you to show them the ropes and get...
They can help me with the story. If we break this, we'll become real reporters. This is the story of the century! Who is Superman?
Lois, I know what Superman is.
Huh.
You think he's a plane?
It kinda looks like a bird.
My Adventures with Superman. 2-episode series premiere.
Alrighty. First off the bat, what's your kind of like feeling towards the show from it just like being announced to it like moving over to Adult Swim to just this trailer?
I actually didn't know about this show for quite a while. The first I actually heard of it was like maybe 6 months or so ago when they like
Okay.
first started revealing like actual like concrete stuff for it. Like I think like a poster or something. But I think from the trailer, it definitely gets me very excited. It wasn't really on my radar before this. But I think the animation's interesting. I think the setup for the story seems pretty interesting. Definitely like the early days of Superman, and it'll be fun to have another Superman show, especially kind of like in this lull period in between while Superman and Lois is off, while Gotham Knights is off. If hopefully they'll come back either in the fall or beginning of next year for new seasons. But it'll be a fun little like I guess bridging the gap series, and the animation, like I said, looks pretty fun too.
Yeah, no, it literally I think comes back like the week following from Superman and Lois season 3 ending. So it like literally comes out I think at the perfect time. And yeah, no, this show just looks really, really cute. Like I think it looks a lot of it kind of reminds me a lot more like what you would see with like modern Disney Channel like animated cartoons with like your Owl House or your Gravity Falls type type stuff, and just like how it's animated into like how wholesome these characters seem to be. I cannot stress enough how this does not feel like Adult Swim.
Yeah, that's my only thing. I'm like, why is it on Adult Swim? That's a little weird. It doesn't seem like it's like a, edgy Superman or anything like that. So
It seems like, and I could be wrong. I try and keep up with like these animated stuff a little bit. I think what's happening with Cartoon Network right now is very weird, because we had so many announcements for shows going over to Cartoon Network. Right, we had this show, we had the Batman show, we had the new total drama island reboot type thing. I know they announced like Powerpuff Girls thing and Amazing World of Gumball thing, and they've all basically got either canceled or moved to another network. I know there's a rumor for like a Ben 10 thing, and that doesn't seem like it's happening anymore. So if I was to make a guess, it kind of feels like Cartoon Network is becoming more of like your like Disney Junior type thing. And it seems like everything mature is going over to either Adult Swim or like Boomerang or Amazon, or I don't know. I don't. It's kind of sad because I think Cartoon Network has made so many amazing mature shows, and it kind of sucks that they've kind of just like reverted to only kind of kid type content.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think also it's most likely just to have a place to air live, and then it'll go. Yeah, it says it'll go to Max the next day. So that's most likely probably how I'll end up watching it, is just streaming it.
Yeah,
but I think it's a good idea for if somebody wants to watch it live, or they can just catch it on the app the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I've never watched a like Adult Swim show before, so I was very like, how do I watch this thing? But I'm very glad to see it's going to Max. Almost makes me wonder why it's not just a Max original, but
yeah,
oh well.
Yeah.
I love the focus on just like Clark, Lois, and Jimmy. Feels like it's just Jimmy. I'm excited to get more Jimmy Olsen, because he's kind of got the short end of the stick for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
With obviously what they did in Batman v Superman and Supergirl. As much as I love that Jimmy, he doesn't feel like Jimmy to me. Like he seems like almost like a new character. And then Superman and Lois, of course, not touching Jimmy. I wish they would. I think they could at some point if they wanted to. But and a very sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say I haven't seen much anime or anything, but it definitely has a very like anime kind of style to it almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely kind of emulating that animation style. I do like the Superman suit though. I like the trunks.
Sure.
And it does kind of look like that New 52 style logo. Like it almost looks like the Supergirl New 52 emblem.
Let's see if I can find a good shot of it.
But I do like that design. It's kind of cool.
Sure. Very, very true. Where's that one shot? There's a shot where I was wondering if it was Bruno Mannheim. I don't know if it's this shot here. There's a shot with like a man with a gun. Whereas like, are we doing Bruno back to back? That'd be kind of funny. And there seems to be like a lot of tech and characters with guns. So I was like, maybe. That's almost like a Smallville look with like the hood.
It was like an early job before he goes to the Daily Planet.
I can't seem to find it, but oh well. I also like that
it was there somewhere.
He breaks his alarm clock. He doesn't know his own strength yet, I guess. And it also just seems to be a pretty fun balance between Clark and Superman as well. Like, it seems like there's a lot of it seems like the Daily Planet stuff is going to be a big part of the show. He's breaking a lot of things. I wonder if he's like brand new to like his powers.
Yeah, this could be like Superman Year 1.
Interesting. I think is it this shot? Did I find it? Maybe not. Oh well, who cares? But yeah, no, this looks a lot of fun. I think my plan is literally just like to like replace Superman and Lois streams with maybe not just the show, because I don't know if there's an hour or so enough like to talk about the show. But oh, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if this is Bruno back here and this is like Inner Gang.
It could be
maybe?
Intergang, yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, that would
That-
be interesting if they just double dose of Intergang.
I wonder if we do like Dark Side, because this is the place where we could do like we could actually do Dark
Yeah.
Side.
Make it kind of cosmic. Is that a Silver Banshee maybe?
Ooh, like a technology, like teched out Silver Banshee. That'd be kind of fun.
Possibly.
Yeah, this stuff here like really reminds me of like a Pokemon, like a Bakugan
Yeah.
type design, I guess. And of course the like bird plane joke was great. Yeah.
It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman.
Yeah. Well, that's probably all we can get out of this minute trailer for an Adult Swim show.
Yeah.
I definitely agree, Stranger. I think
Yes.
I think well, I mean Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man have all are getting like animated projects this year, which is really fun. And James again talked about wanting to do like a Wonder Woman animated either show or movie, which is also very exciting.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love the medium of animation, just because you have a lot more freedom sometimes than you would with live action projects. So I think it's fun to throw these characters into animation.
Yeah, no, I would honestly prefer it over live action. I think, like not saying you can't do live action, because I do think live action you can like connect a lot more to sometimes, but I don't know. I would like a good half and half. I think I really hope Marvel and DC notices like Spider-Verse and what they've been able to accomplish. And I know animated films are much more expensive and they take a lot longer, so obviously you're going to want both, but I don't know, I hope they greenlit more projects. I hope we get like spin-offs and stuff like that. So so with all that being said, an hour in, we are going to talk about the newest episode of Superman and Lois, season 3, episode 11. We're in these final 3 episodes. It's insane. It's crazy. We're at the end of the road. I'm really sad because this show has become my like comfort show. It's probably my favorite like network television show. Now that The Flash is over. So just kind of right off the bat, what was your opinion on this episode of Superman and Lois?
I enjoyed it, as I have really with every episode this season, but I think it kind of reassured me that there is still somewhat of an underlying issue with the whole season, and that's the fact that I feel like something's missing. Like it feels like there's a missing storyline, and it was very apparent this week that we did have on one end of the spectrum. We had something, very, very interesting going on, very much so tied in with the overall Bruno Mannheim plots, tied in very closely with Lois's storyline this season as well. But we did also have to take breaks from that and go into storylines that were not quite as interesting. Following with the, Cushing Lang family drama and all of that nonsense, basically, that, isn't quite as impactful, I guess.
Yeah, this episode was a weird one for me. Because I literally went back and forth from like, this is one of the worst of the season to this is some of the coolest stuff the show has done. And some really, really, really great scenes here. And there like we would have a scene where I'm like, what are you doing, why are we doing this? And then literally 3 minutes later I'm like, this is some of the greatest superhero, like the Superman moments ever. It's weird because I think these writers are so brilliant at writing these characters, and I just want to talk about Kyle just like really quick, because Kyle, literally the like beginning of the episode, I've never disliked Kyle more. Like, he's so dumb. Like, he says things that are so dumb, and like, why would you possibly think this thing? And by the end of the episode, he made me cry of like given a scene that he gave. And like each episode with Kyle, I never know if I should like this character or if I should hate this character. Like each episode is different, and I think this season's the worst for that because like he would go through arcs. Like the first part of season 1, he was very unlikable, and that was obviously a choice because you wanted him to be that like back and forth that for like Lois. And then like by the end he's like a nice chill guy, and like he kind of goes through an arc and it's very clear. And this season it's this back and forth like yo-yo effect kind of.
Yeah, his character development has definitely been a roller coaster, I guess you could say. Is like, you know, like you're saying, is they want you to dislike the character, then they want you to like the character, then they want you to dislike the character, then they want you to like the character, and then they, you know, do all of this like conflict for the sake of conflict. Like they really could have just had it be where in many scenarios, you know, a character's secret identity is revealed and they take it not quite as well at first, but then
Sure.
they come around pretty easily and they're like, okay, yeah, I accept it. But they decided to have Kyle kind of be just, you know, grumpy for the whole episode until the end. And he's like, oh yeah, maybe I was a little too harsh on you guys. It's cool. So I don't know. He's been a little all over the place for sure.
It was weird because, like, you know, I guess kind of like really like jumping forward here, like we open the episode and he's really chill with Clark. He's like, yo, dude, this is awesome. I love you, man. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And then he kind of fires at Chrissy and was like, you can't have both. Like you can't be like happy about this thing and then mad that he kept the like secret that you're going to have to keep. Like you're literally going to have to do that same thing that she just did to you for like the rest of your life. So I thought Kyle, this, like, you know, in those portions was the weakest the writing in the show has ever been, in that aspect. But again, like we end the episode with like a really touching scene between like him and Sarah and Lana. It just kind of proves like the like strength of these writers. So I don't know.
he started in a rocky spot, but we got to a much better spot in the end, I think, and you know that's all that matters. And hopefully going forward, we won't have to deal with any more of that drama, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. So starting up from the top, a big part of this episode is Lois preparing for surgery, and this kind of to me felt like, in many ways, this felt like a finale of the story that we've been telling. I don't know if it would have been a very good season finale, but it felt kind of like an ending point for a lot of these characters when it comes to Lois Lane and her cancer, to kind of the Kyle stuff, to even the Bruno Mannheim and Natalie stuff, and all of that jazz. Kind of felt like a finale. So what did you feel? How did you feel about this Lois Lane getting prepped for surgery and then them throwing that party and like everything to do with Lois this episode?
Yeah, I think it was definitely some finality to her cancer storyline from the season, and I think, you know, throughout the entire thing, the writers have seemingly been, you know, very respectful with it. They've done it in a very realistic way. And then the way that they ended it as well, again, kind of keeping with that theme that they have been going with for the whole season. And it was nice to kind of have that story wrapped up and have it done in a nice way and everything like that, and kind of, you know, make us again, you know, hopeful for the future of the show, for her future and everything like that, and just, you know, coming out on the other side of this stronger from the experience, I guess you could say, as well. But it is pretty interesting, too, that you say that it feels somewhat like a finale. And a lot of people said the same thing, like a couple episodes before the finale of season 1.
Yeah.
Even. Like it felt like the show ended and then we had like some epilogue episodes. And that's almost what it feels like we're doing now here, too, is we wrapped up Lois's cancer storyline. We've wrapped up the Bruno Mannheim storyline. We've wrapped up Pia and everything like that. We've wrapped up John Henry Irons' investigation and all of this stuff, but now we still have 2 episodes left, and it seems like those 2 episodes are going to be setting up a potential season 4 that we unfortunately may or may not ever see. Yeah,
no, it really did feel like it was almost like we're setting up for almost this 2-part movie type thing with, I guess we're kind of jumping all over the place this episode, but with Lex Luthor seeming to be in next week's episode. Seems like the most of next week's episode is going to be about Lex Luthor, which I'm very excited for. And obviously Bizarro waking
Yeah.
up and seeming like he's very not good, not bad, but like an animal, like very angry and very kind of out of it, which I'm so excited to really dive into.
Yeah, like full on zombie Bizarro. I hope he speaks opposite, like he does in the comics. Like that'll
Sure.
be fun. That'll be fun.
No, I'm very happy that we're getting him because I was starting to worry a little bit that we wouldn't get actual Bizarro, that he would just kind of be there for the plot, like, oh, like we need medicine, so he's going to be there, and then we kill him off. So I'm very glad because I think if you didn't do any kind of like Bizarro, him interacting with Clark at all, I think people would have ended the season very disappointed. I know a lot of people are already disappointed that he wasn't. I don't know exactly what people wanted with like Bizarro, if they wanted him to be like the main villain, just like ongoing threat for Clark throughout the season. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm very excited to see how that story, that character, and Lex crosses, because I definitely think Lex is going to use Bizarro or turn Bizarro into something by the end of the season.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have like an issue with maybe Bizarro being underutilized or something this season. I know a lot of people kind of felt that way, but I had always had it, or I was always under the assumption that he was just a piece of the puzzle. He was a ingredient for Bruno's cure that he was making for Pia. I didn't really expect him to be a major player this season at all, but it does seem like heading into the final couple of episodes that he will eventually turn out to most likely be the big like physical threat that Clark has to defeat at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because we kind of thought that Pia would be that, but in many ways he just kind of had to talk her down and everything. And I think jumping to that scene actually was a very nice scene, kind of calling back to all of those group therapy sessions and stuff that Clark had earlier in the season. About having people just sometimes they have to let go and everything, and it was kind of symbolic in that aspect as Pia had to let go of the power and just kind of I guess just it like you said, just let go, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Sure. Yeah, no. I almost think maybe they could have waited a couple more episodes to like say that he's alive, that they have him. Like, I wonder if we should have found out the same time that Mateo did. Like, he's just laying there and it's like, oh my gosh, he has that character. And then there's not like 3-4 weeks of like, oh, he's still sitting there, okay. what are we going to do with him? And obviously I bet they did that for like Buzz. Same with like that Lex Luthor trailer. Like, I imagine I think the Lex trailer was done for like, oh, Lex is in the show, maybe people will start watching, and then we get renewed.
Yeah, I mean, I had always thought that Lex maybe had played a part in possibly why Pia had her powers, like how in last week's episode she was talking about how he was a monster and everything like that, and we kind of get that brought back up in the trailer for next week's episode. I'm sure we'll touch on that. But we never got an explanation as to where her powers came from, and I would always thought, maybe Lex was doing experiments and gave her powers that way. So maybe if that's not the case, maybe it'll kind of carry over into the Bizarro aspect, and Lex will play some part in at least sending Bizarro after Clark. So
yeah, I'm hoping the like Bruno and Lex stuff does cross over, because I think if this is the last we see of Bruno and then these last two are just Lex and all this stuff, I think there's going to be a very misjointed end to the season, where it almost feels like, oh, what was the point of this whole first half of the season if we're just doing Lex at the very end? Yeah. Then like you may as well just do Lex,
yeah.
So I'm very curious, because I was like, oh, we're like, he's going to jail now, like we're done here. Like, I don't know how we like connect the dots. Like, I almost even would have preferred if like Lex comes in and kills Bruno. Like, I love Bruno. I think he should return next season in like a like reoccurring type way. But yeah, I guess I'm just curious how it all kind of like connects together.
Yeah. I think they did a really good job early on in the season of setting Bruno up as just this big imposing threat, and then they did a great job of making the audience and Clark sort of sympathize with him, see the direction that he was coming from, why he was doing what he was doing, and I think in many ways they wanted to also kind of like portray that spiral where he would, basically he would cross any line, he would do anything to save Pia, and we saw that here at the end. But it just does end in a very, almost like a very odd way. The
Yeah.
storyline kind of fizzles out, and he's just like, all right, he just kind of accepts defeat, which doesn't seem like the Bruno that we met earlier on in the season. Like, I feel like he has the power to, like, he's brought people back to life before. Like, why does he just accept Pia's death? Like, that's a little weird for in my mind. But
Yeah, I think, I would assume a part of it is like, it seems like Pia was at, like, she had accepted it, and I felt like he almost wanted to honor her wishes.
right,
And
that's true.
yeah, I was under the assumption that we would kill Pia, that she would either like, honestly, like, I saw the setup happening, like,
Yeah.
oh, he sees Clark rushing her up into space, he comes down, she's dead, and then he blames Clark for, like, killing my wife and all this stuff, and then these final two are him, like, going insane and, like, here's a zombie, and here's, I'm freeing Lex from prison, and, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe it still is, maybe, I don't know, like, maybe he's like, I'm planning from prison, I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he gets locked up with Lex, I don't know. But no, it felt like a very, I don't know, it feels like it almost felt like they kept Bruno kind of safe, like they always kind of wanted him to seem like a good, like,
Yeah.
a good guy almost, which I'm not against. I like having these, like, I think they did a very good job of making me care about all those characters. Like, I cared about Bruno, I cared about Pia. So I don't know how I would have done it. I really don't.
Yeah, they definitely did well with making Bruno a sympathetic villain, and I think if that was the direction that they intended to go with him from the beginning, they nailed it. And obviously they're bringing in Lex here in the final two episodes, so I think that also kind of shows maybe that dichotomy there of somebody who's doing the wrong things for the right reasons versus somebody who does the wrong things just because they're inherently a bad person, like Lex Luthor.
Sure. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people who have not really liked Bruno this season. Which again, I had no issues until this very episode, and I kind of thought about it a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see maybe why he wasn't everyone's favorite. And again, like, I think you are right about there being another subplot here that was missing, that we kind of had to fill in the spots.
Yeah, we definitely were missing that Diggle storyline. Definitely missing Diggle.
Yeah, I kind of just have to see how it all wraps up, because I think the show normally does a pretty good job at finishing off. I mean, I think finales have honestly kind of been some of the weaker stuff. Like, I love those season 1 finale, but that's my least favorite episode from season 1. I think it's just a little bit rushed, and there's a little bit of like, oh, we got to wrap things up now. Okay. And then season 2, as much as I think that season finale has some really cool stuff, there's a bad taste in my mouth due to all the Arrowverse stuff and just that kind of like depression from what they kind of put there. So I gotta see how we wrap these last two up. I almost wish they were airing them together, because it does kind of feel like it could be like a part 1, part 2 situation. Yeah. I did like the Bruno stuff. It just felt dragged. Maybe. I wonder, do you think he was always supposed to be the main villain?
I don't know. So when they announced Michael Cudlitz as Lex, they always said he was coming in a guest appearance role with the option to continue on for season 4 as a series regular. There could have been a version of the story where we would have seen more Lex early on in the season and maybe would have gotten to him a little bit quicker. But the way that they went about it makes me feel like behind the scenes they were very confident in this season 4. So they were like, okay, we'll drag the Bruno Mannheim stuff out a little bit more, and then just save Lex for the end and kind of use him as like a big setup for the next season, and kind of, sell the audience on this big fantastic Lex storyline that they're planning. But
Yeah, they're very confident about season 4, and
yeah,
I kind of hate them for that. Like,
and that's
if
what
this was
happened.
last year, like I can't even blame Legends that much because
Right,
TV was much different last year. Like I personally do not blame them, but I think after seeing not only what's happened with Legends and Batwoman, but just the scope of TV.
Yeah.
What, like, I get film. I'm fine if you film 2 scenes, and like if you get like renewed early, then you can do the cliffhanger, because I love a good cliffhanger. I love having stuff to talk about during the break. But I don't know. Like I think they should have at least done a 2-part thing where it's like if they don't get season 4, end it in a way where it's kind of like this is the end. So
Right, they should have maybe done something like Stargirl did. Was kind of film those 2 different endings and then use the ending that they need for the scenario that they're dealt. So
yeah, I don't know.
but it is interesting too, is we're coming up on the last 2 episodes now of the season, and we still don't know. Like, is there a possibility we go into the finale and not even know if this show is coming back?
They need to pull like a MCU where it's like Superman will return at the end, at the very final scene.
Yeah.
I actually do want to scroll up because I did want to talk about. Give me 1 minute here. I've been thinking about this a lot, and if this is the direction that we're going, here we go. Stranger asks about Death of Superman. Now I've thought about this a bit, with Lex and with like Bizarro, and even like the rumors of a certain monster like creature coming in at the end. I don't know if I want to mention it, just because if anyone hasn't seen some of the stuff.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I wonder, like, I would be down if you set up like a Death of Superman. Obviously, that'd be a terrible way to end the show. Like that might be actually one of the worst show endings of all time. If it doesn't get a season 4. But like if it got a season 4, I would be down for like a potential Death of Superman arc, especially with like Jordan seeming like he could like become Superboy kind of going into the season 4, with John, with Natalie kind of taking up Orange. Maybe you can introduce like we have a Eradicator too. Like he can come back into season 4.
Be just Reign of the Supermen to begin.
Yeah. I think that could be a fun way to open a season. Of course, if it gets a season 4. Like killing off Superman in your final moments of the show would be horrible.
Yeah, no, I think that is a really good cliffhanger if you know that you're going into another season, like concrete confirmed. And we've been told that the show does end on a cliffhanger. And with the evidence that a specific character could possibly show up, a lot of things are pointing towards that possibly being what happens, especially now that we've seen Jordan progress with his powers a lot more. Like, he is pretty much full-fledged Superboy. Like, even in this episode, he just unlocked his X-ray vision, and I think that scene where he discovered that power, and Jonathan was able to kind of like calm him down and everything. That was a really nice scene. I think that might have been my favorite kind of like character moment of the episode. It was just a nice little like brotherly moment. So I thought that was pretty nice. But if they do end on Death of Superman and they don't get another season, that could possibly just ruin everybody's perception of the show.
Oh yeah, no, like I that would probably be my least favorite series finale of all time. I think if we end like such a this is, I think, arguably one of the most hopeful Superman adaptations we've ever seen, and to end it all with like, oh yeah, he's dead. I think that would make Legends look better in like comparison.
Oh yeah. Like at least they're still alive. I mean, they might be in a time jail, but at least they're still alive. Jeez.
Sure, and I like Legends. I think is weirdly fit. Like I would have liked an ending for Legends. But there is kind of something fitting about like, well, they're like they keep doing wacky adventures, and like they escape
and the adventure
someday.
Continues.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of that where I like to think about where like you go Superman, that like
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like in a lot of people's mind that don't know about the death of Superman, like I feel like this is a show that appeals to such a broad audience. Like
Yeah.
people might not be as well versed in the comics. They see Superman die and they're like, oh, that's it. Like all this and we had a Superman and Lois show and Superman's just dead.
Yeah.
You know, so I we'll see. I've liked this show quite a bit. It's again one of the highest quality DC TV shows, one of the best pieces of the Arrowverse or Arrowverse adjacent. So you know, I hope that they end it on a good note, and I have faith that the show will end well if they have to wrap things up here. But also still holding out that hope for a season 4 because we need more content.
I want a season 4 so bad. So yeah, this is a good like transition into Jordan. Again, like Jordan was one of the biggest like whiplash moments for me. Where it's like I complained almost that whole intro, like first half of this episode, because Jordan. Again, I don't know where we're going with this arc. I assume they're going to turn it around. I'm like, okay, this made sense. I get where like the like destination was that they went, but I think the timing getting here has not been my favorite, and it's, you know, I a lot of people who haven't liked Jordan in the past, and I have like defended his character quite a bit, but this is at a point where it's like, yeah, currently I don't like you.
It's so weird too because they ended in a very good spot at the end of season 2. Like I thought that they were on good terms. They were like, all right, well, we're just friends now. Like we're chill. And then just throughout the season, that's kind of devolved into just like petty squabbles back and forth. You know, like they're just kind of just jabbing at each other for no reason, and it just like neither one of them are being very good friends to each other, and it's just weird that we're kind of like running around in circles with that. And you know, I hope they work things out.
Yeah, like again, I've talked about this before. I think its writing of like relationships has been some of the best I've ever seen. Like this show knows how to write them. So like when they're not written well, or like when there's moments that I think aren't as good as others, it's very noticeable. So scenes between Jordan and the start of the season very noticeable. Even scenes between Kyle and Lana and Chrissy, like I've liked. I think it's been good for the most part, but there are scenes where it's like, why are we doing this? So yeah, I don't know. But like again, then we transfer into scenes where it's like Jordan and Jonathan, and I love their like brotherly thing. Like I think they're so good. I think like when they get to just be brothers, and I'm a single child, but I've never wanted to be a brother more than when it's like Jonathan just being a great brother to like Jordan. And no, I think him having this like panic attack and his like X-ray vision coming through, which I forgot he didn't have X-ray vision. I kind of just thought he had a little bit of like everything, but like on like a lower scale. But no, I thought it was a really well done scene.
Yeah, and I think also too, it's weird to think about how I'm not sure if that would have worked if we still had our original version of Jonathan. Actually, I think Michael Bishop also has been doing an amazing job this season. And it's weird how in like a symbolic way he's kind of like trying to be a better person. He's trying to, you know, put his best foot forward from all of the ex-Kryptonite stuff that happened last season, and in doing so they've changed the actor and everything like that. And that we've really seen kind of his progression to trying to be, you know, a better friend, a better brother, and just kind of, you know, be there when he needs to be and try to find his role, even if it's without superpowers. So
yeah, no, I think Jonathan has been pretty good this season. I still feel like he's in an awkward spot compared to everyone else, just with this character. Because, you know, like, as he still gets stuff to do this season, there is that awkward part of, like, well, I'm kind of, like, that odd man out, where it's, like, I'm not, like, a journalist, I'm not a superhero, I'm kind of just, like, emotional support. Especially this episode, I felt very, but, you know, I thought, like, I think the scenes he has given are really good. And I think that other actor, I think Jordan, right? The actor. I think he would have done a good job.
Yeah,
Still.
no,
Like I thought he was a
yeah.
good actor.
Yeah, I thought he was also very good as well. It just they're very different versions of the character, I think. They both have their
Yeah,
own spin. They have their own take.
it's weird. Yeah, because they do feel very drastically different. But I also never like I don't notice it's a different actor while watching it. Like I think he's done
Right,
such a
right.
good job to kind of like I'm so like laser focused in like, oh yeah, that's just Jordan, or you know that's just Jonathan. Um, so yeah, I think he's doing great. I hope he gets another season. It would suck if like I hear about that happening all the time where like people join a show and then oh yeah, it's canceled now.
Right.
So yeah, I would love to see him grow. I don't know what we do with him going into season 4, but I hope we
Give
see.
him a steel suit.
Yeah, I wonder. Man, I think there has to be a. I think you're right because he was supposed to have like a weapons arc this season. He
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah, he was supposed to go to the fortress more, but that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Has he gone once? Like one time.
Oh yeah, when he went with Jordan when they were investigating like Kryptonian cures, I think.
Yeah. Let me look at the chat real quick. There's some that are like I've been using the chat as like segues where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
they mentioned this thing, so I can put that into here. I also want to jump around a little bit here.
We love chat. Chat's great. Chat helps carry the stream sometimes.
Yeah, you guys are awesome today. We haven't had a stream this large.
Yes,
I guess
thank you
we
guys.
had the flash stream, which was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I always love talking to you guys. It makes it easier than just talking to ourselves. It really is. Let's talk about Levi. Still hoping for a bye, John. Hope as in the last. Hope is the last one to fall. I would like a bye, John. I mean, you know, I'm always here for more bye rep. There's not a lot of it on TV. I think it's hard to write bye, just especially in like movies and stuff. So of course I'd love it if it fits into the story, if that actor is okay with it. I know the last actor didn't seem very comfortable with doing a storyline like that, and I was totally okay with that. Like I would never want an actor to be forced into doing a role that they're not comfortable with. But you know, it would have been really cool if like when they were casting, like in the casting call, and I know it's very short notice when it came to casting, but it would have been really cool if they like, hey, like cast by actors or something, or like, you know, actors that are okay with filming, like, you know, those type of scenes. I would love it, but I don't need it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean it would be nice too because I think that they did that in the comics recently, right?
Hmm.
So it would be a fun little fun tie into that, and of course, obviously, more representation is always welcome on these shows. So if they go down that route, I'm all for it. But if they don't, no worries, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to be upset if we don't. Like, how dare they? This show's homophobic. Yeah, I don't think that's the route. And you know, I think there's also just like I've talked about how I would love, it wouldn't happen, but I would love like a Super Sons like spinoff at some point, and like if we end the show with him getting like powers or whatever. Like someone mentioned powers, and I don't want him to get powers during most of the show because I think that would be very hard to write. 3 characters with like Kryptonian powers plus the steel suits plus, you know, all that stuff. I think it's hard to work around, but like if we get like a spinoff and it's just like Jordan and Jonathan being these heroes, I would love that. And if you want to save that storyline for like a future, like an older Jonathan, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that Jordan's powers came in like a moment of crisis, right? Back in season 1. So what if they actually do go down this Death of Superman route and maybe that triggers Jonathan's powers?
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
And like he just gets angry or something, and then the powers kick in. But I don't know.
I will say if we do go Death of Superman, I think Jonathan could have a really fun story about like stepping up,
right,
and being almost like I don't want to say like you have to have like a man of the house, but like really steps up and like because Lois would be a mess. Lois would have a heart like I can't even imagine because like we even set up that she has like she won't be able to like move for a while.
Right.
She might be injured, so like the boys would literally have to step up. And of course we have like Sam and like John Henry Irons and stuff. But yeah, no, I again I'd be very for it if we get another season. I think that could be a fun direction. I don't know how how long do you think okay, like if we did it, how long do you think that we would be without Superman? Because like CW has a trope of like ending the season in this really interesting way, and episode 1 is like, oh, we're back to normal now.
Okay. If they did it, I don't think we would actually go any episodes without Superman, because I feel like we would get like a little stinger at the end of the first episode that reveals he's not really dead or something
Sure.
like that, and then maybe we have a parallel story where he's just like recovering at the fortress or something, while everybody else is kind of reeling with the death of Superman and all that stuff. So we
Sure.
could maybe still get him on the show, and obviously Tyler Hoechlin is a lead, so we kind of have to have him on the show.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe how long he wouldn't be interacting with everybody else. If they do a 13 to 15 episode season, I would say at the most 5 episodes, probably at the least like 2 episodes, similar to like Flashpoint.
I think it'd be I think it would be kind of cool to have like a mini tiny arc where like it's, I don't want to say Team Superman because I don't even want to bring that to life, but like they're facing off against some bigger threat that they're having a hard time beating in those first like 5 episodes, and by the end it's like this new super powered Superman comes in and beats its butt. I don't know what that threat would be, but like bring in, I don't know, someone like Lobo or something. I don't know, like someone fun.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then we could get the black suit as well, the recovery
That'd be
suit,
cool.
and bring back the old hashtag mullet for Superman.
Yeah. I did. I know we've been talking about this for a while. I do want to slightly move it along here. I want to talk about Sarah really quick. How did you feel about Sarah this week?
I feel bad that the actress has had to kind of like play the same thing over and over and over again. Like I feel like she hasn't progressed too much this season. I think finally we're maybe going to be going in a good direction for the character. But similar to the stuff with Jordan is I just feel like they've been treading the same water for a while here now. And I just kind of want them to put all of this behind them and just progress forward.
Yeah, I think just automatically mixing her storyline with Jordan, it's lending her to not have the best like independent storyline.
Yeah,
and I think Sarah's also a hard character to write in a Superman show. Like she kind of has to be connected to Jordan or Jonathan or even Nat. And I haven't liked it previously, but I actually really liked her this episode, especially when like I think depression is a really powerful thing, right? I think I think as much as like I was thinking like this kind of came out of nowhere, but like so does depression and so does like these storylines. So I think getting to see how tragic it can be and getting to see how to like represent that idea in a positive way was really important, I thought. And then of course that whole diner scene between Sarah, Kyle, and Lana I thought was gorgeous. I thought it was beautiful. And again, I don't know why we can't always write Kyle like that. Like Kyle is a character. I really wish we would have leaned into the Kyle and Jonathan thing. Those two characters that both kind of feel like outliers in the show and both kind of feel like, well, we don't know what to do with them. Let's just not do anything with them or give them really weird stuff to do. I think I really wish we would have focused a lot on the firefighter stuff and almost like him being like a father figure almost to like Jonathan. I wish maybe that was the direction we went with him, but no, I thought the diner stuff and Sarah getting a job was all pretty fun.
Yeah. No, I think too. You brought up a really good point. Like I think she portrayed everything very well. Like it was all acted very, very well.
Yeah, I think like I know it sounds bad, but I think like when the character's like depressed, that's kind of her writing at her best. And of course, I want there to be more than that character than just that. But I think they have a really good grasp on how to write that type of storyline. And I also just like Lana in those storylines because she's such a good mother, and seeing just her worry about Sarah the way that she does, I think is usually written very well. I hope going into season 4 she does get more though. I hope we like I don't know where we take, or I don't even know if we're going to have Sarah, because I mean, I don't know what's happening with season 4, if we would still have those characters or not. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've always said, even from the beginning of this season, is I thought that the kids would have more of a focused storyline on just maybe like taking on smaller threats and everything. I thought, we have Powered Jonathan, we have Natalie in the steel suit, and then Sarah and John are the two non-powered characters, but they would still be contributing in that kind of like Scooby-Doo gang crime fighting way. So that was kind of always my way of envisioning where these characters were going this season. So there's a possibility that we could get more of that next season. But then it also kind of brings back the whole idea of maybe not even being in Smallville next season. So what place would these Smallville characters have?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I do want to kind of go back and kind of touch base on the Lois Lane Pia storyline. I thought everything with Lois and Clark and Pia and Bruno were all really, really good. I do want to say, again, not a fault of the story, because it was obviously a part of the thing that they were telling. But I think having surgery while the power is going out is very dumb on the hospital's part. Like, I can't imagine like hospital being like, well, it's going on and off. Do you still want the surgery? I'd be like,
That's
no.
a major liability there.
Yeah. I was very shocked it was even an option.
It's like, yeah, there's like these crazy earthquake tremors. We don't know why they're happening or where they're coming from. The power's fading in and out. We could make a wrong move at any moment, but you're still good with the surgery? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, no.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I think even like I understand Lois's point of view. Like I bet going through that surgery, it's very tragic. I would not want, like, if I had my mind set on doing the surgery today, I would want to do it today too. I don't blame Lois, but I blame the hospital, because they're very dumb.
I would not want to go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned at a moment like that. Like,
no,
I would wait. I'd reschedule. So
yeah, I think the overall idea that they were having, that like Lois had faith in Superman, that he wouldn't let anything happen to her, and that he would take care of the situation, and I think that's okay. And again, it's not an issue for me. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, that's weird. I don't know.
And I think it also maybe drew back to the fact that I guess Lois kind of knew that there was still some good left in Pia, maybe, and that she knew about the surgery and everything like that, and she wouldn't be doing this to, negatively impact that in any way. So maybe that was also a thought in the back of her mind as well, is like, okay, Pia might be responsible for all of this, but she doesn't mean for it to happen. But again, it's still happening, and there could still obviously be issues with the fact that the power is going out and we're having crazy earthquake tremors and all that.
Yeah, I would send everyone, that's not like there, like that aren't like staying overnight and stuff, and that aren't like everyone that had appointments, I would send them home, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Lois wasn't actually in a lot of this episode, but I thought the stuff she had was still pretty good. Let's talk about Natalie just really quick. So Levi says that the Natalie has gotten a lot worse this season, other than a love story. They didn't know what to do with her. Natalie's a weird. It feels. I want to talk about the Mateo stuff, because there is a weird, like, no character has a middle ground where like Natalie is kind of head over heels, like he did nothing wrong and he's amazing, and all that, and like John Henry's like, arrest him, he's a criminal, and it feels like, can we meet in the middle? Like, maybe don't trust him full-heartedly and get yourself in trouble, but he's not even 18, like he's a kid. Like, I would if I was that kid, I would probably do the same exact thing as him. If I could save my mother from dying, I would. So I don't blame him in the least, but I don't know. Felt like those two characters needed to like meet in the middle a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like they did have a nice conversation though there when Natalie went into Bruno's office and stuff, and then John kind of shortly followed. Like, they did have a good back and forth there, and then by the end of the episode, it seems like everybody was on some sort of like common ground. Like, we even kind of got this little like the nice little head nod between John Henry and Bruno, and Bruno when he was being interrogated at the DOD. kind of was saying, I know what type of man John Henry Irons is, and kind of like a very like mutual respect type of way. So
Yeah, no, I almost thought he almost came out of I don't want to say nowhere, but there's like definitely like, oh, we're like cool now, okay, whatever.
yeah,
Um,
it was a little quick, but at least they're leaving off in a nice spot.
Yeah, I like it. I think if that's the last we see it from this season, it leaves in an interesting spot for next season where I could see where like we need his technology to stop a villain or something, so we break him out for like a day and he helps out and then goes back, kind of like what we did last season with Talro. So
Possibly.
yeah, heading to the end of this episode, we had the giant Pia versus Superman. I won't say fight, but like conversation. Pia's like out of control. She can't like control her powers. She's kind of about to die, and we get this really nice scene between her and Superman where it's like it's okay to let go. Like it's over for you. It's like there's nothing we can do, and it's okay to let go. What did you think of this entire sequence?
Yeah, again, I thought it was a very nice sequence, and it again drew back to those group therapy sessions from earlier episodes where they were talking about how there's a time sometimes where you have to just accept what's going to happen, and there's you can't fight anymore, and you have to let go. And at that point, Pia was at the point where her powers were taking over, and she had to just let it all out. And unfortunately, letting all that energy out when Clark brought her up, that and resulted in her death. But I think it was still a nice scene between the two of them, and the fact that he was able to kind of relay those final thoughts from Pia to Bruno as well was also pretty nice.
I agree. I think it kind of just like symbolizes what's great about Superman and like what he stands for, and like he needs to stop this like situation, but he's still trying to be the symbol of hope. And like as Bruno has caused all this trouble, he's still like he is still understanding to what he's going through and this loss that they have just endured. And I thought that was a really nice moment. I also thought, again, like this season has done really well in like parallels between Lois and Pia. I kind of felt like there's another one with like Pia ended up dying because of what Bruno has done, and Lois lives. Like I don't know what lives yet, but like she has like gone through all this stuff and like came out the other side relatively okay. And I thought that was a nice little parallel.
Right. And it's also an interesting spot seeing how Superman can't save everybody. I think that was also a very important thing to bring up as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all the notes I have for Superman Lois. We talked about that for almost an hour. Do you have any final thoughts on this episode? Kind of anything going into this next episode, which we have this promo for?
I'm just intrigued to see how these final two episodes will go. It seems like from the setup there, it's going to be mostly kind of an epilogue, and then kind of just set up for season 4, which we hopefully get.
Yeah. So we are heading towards the 2-hour mark. So what I'm going to do for both these promos, actually, I think I want to save them for next week when we have no episodes to talk about. I think that's what I might end up doing, because we do have a couple of things I do want to get through, and we're heading towards the 2-hour mark. So very, I don't want to say quickly, but quicker, going into this episode of Gotham Knights, which this is the first time I'm probably ever going to say this. I think I preferred Gotham Knights over Superman and Lois this week.
Controversially, I could say that about quite a few episodes.
Uh-oh. You are fired. Just kidding.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry,
No, I like this again. I don't know if we talked. I think I talked about this at the beginning of the stream, but this was the first episode where I'm like, I kind of really love this show. This is a really fun show. It's very, it's very CW still. It's no Game of Thrones. It's no Breaking Bad. It's not even, the peaks of like what CW can be. But I think this show is really fun, and I think it's really found its footing. It really feels like it's found the show that it ultimately wants to be.
Yeah, no, I think that this episode definitely solidified the fact that they do character writing very well. We didn't explore a lot of that mystery this week, which was, I guess, somewhat surprising. But it definitely carried on from last week in a very good way. I think the humor this week was actually very good as well. And just kind of diving deeper into some more backstories of multiple characters this week as well as kind of just, fleshing out some of these storylines that have been set up throughout the course of the season. Also kind of came to a head this week as well. So it was nice kind of seeing things come together and set up quite nicely for these final 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, I kind of going into this episode, I kind of thought it was going to be mostly kind of like a filler, like not full on filler. I thought it was going to be like very character driven. So obviously still gearing up into these final 2, but there was still a lot here that set up for these final 2. More than I thought. Like we had mostly kind of joked about the twist in this episode last week, and if that was possible. And as I definitely thought it could have been a possibility, I wasn't expecting them to go that route, and the way they went about the route, I think was quite kind of insane. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of dark. Like
Yeah, if you want to just like jump right into it,
Yeah.
we get it revealed. Something that if you're a fan of the comics, you might have saw this
Yeah.
as a possibility. But Duella's father is not actually the Joker. He is indeed Harvey Dent, which makes her Duella Dent. So
Dent, yeah.
big shocker, big surprise. But again, something that we've kind of speculated on for a little while here. And I did think it was very interesting how we involved Duella's mom in all of this, and she kind of created this fantasy, this backstory for Duella when she was younger, that the what is it, the most dangerous man in Gotham was
Yeah.
her father, and she kind of assumed that would be referring to the Joker. The Joker kind of, I guess, maybe was like a mentor-ish kind of character to
Yeah.
her while she was growing up in Arkham Asylum. So very interesting stuff there. So she kind of like modeled her criminal life after the Joker, who she believed was her father. But it turns out it was actually Harvey Dent, or I guess we should more accurately say Two-Face. The Two-Face side of Harvey Dent seems to be Duella's father. So very interesting stuff there.
Yeah, no, I thought I actually really enjoyed the, like, obviously we're never seeing Joker, but it was kind of, I think the way they were able to almost bring that alive was a lot of fun. And I bet like it seemed like Joker had like accepted almost that father figure for her in a way that probably was just a game to him. It's like, I wonder if he
Yeah.
had like an angle to get the Batman where it's like, oh, if I like, I bet he had this end game in mind to either, get to Harvey Dent to maybe then get to Batman. I don't know. Like I really enjoyed that. And yeah, no, again, I liked the way they kind of handled the twist because, I think the twist was more so not that she was or he was the father, but like he had no idea. And like that Two-Face like slept with this crazy woman, and like he has this dark past, like not knowing he has this dark past, but he kind of did some really messed up things like to this woman. And like I think they kind of introduce it as like, oh yeah, she's crazy and everything she's saying was just like gaslighting and a lie, and Duella is going to find out about it all and then like leave her mom, right? That's kind of like where I thought this episode was going to go, but no,
Right.
I thought I think kind of leaving it like, oh, she was right, and like she is the victim here was definitely an interesting twist.
Yeah, I think that the twist was, while it was for the audience, it was definitely more so for the characters that were associated with it as well, because it definitely pushes Duella in a very interesting direction, because I kind of had assumed that we were kind of going down that redemption arc route after she had, put a lot of effort into saving Turner from the court. It seemed like she was starting to actually finally care about others, care about anyone but herself. But in this regard, we kind of had that revealed to her that maybe she can't always trust people. Her mother is obviously trying to do some master manipulation here with her and everything like that. And by the end of the episode, she is still with her mother, but it seems somewhat reluctant. And even when she shoots Harvey and thinks that she kills him, it's definitely not... she doesn't seem like she's 100% in on that decision, and she seemingly has some like instant regret from that. But also on the side of Harvey, it does kind of unravel that Two-Face mystery again for himself to kind of get a little bit more as far as, you know, what this other personality of his is actually capable of and how dark and twisted that other side of him can actually be.
Yeah, no, I think they're doing a lot better job at Two-Face than I thought they would. I was kind of like, I thought that this actor would do an amazing job either way. I thought he was absolutely going to carry the show, but I think I really like the setup. Like, I don't know if we've ever, you know, at least in live action, got this much setup for a Two-Face, and getting to spend so much time with Harvey, and seeing how dark and like mischievous it is, and it almost feels like he could be doing anything by this point. You know, like anything could come up and like, oh, that's what we did here. And you know, like, you know, we end the episode with like all of this backfiring at him, and you know, him most likely losing in this like upcoming election. And it stings because it's not even like a frame job. Like, he did all of these things.
Right.
And that I think adds a lot of weight to it. Like he could have easily been like, he murdered 2 men, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's a blatant lie. But no, like, he did all these terrible things to this woman, which I think is going to make these next 2 episodes very interesting to see where we fully take Harvey.
Right. And I did also love the fact that the Court of Owls coin was the reason why he survived. Very, very Two-Faced there, having the coin. And even Duella's mom referred to Harvey as a two-faced liar. So we keep getting all of these great Two-Face references and everything like that as well. Most likely leading to the full transformation by the end of the season, I would assume, because we have seen some behind-the-scenes stuff that looks like at least Misha Collins has done the kind of like molding for the prosthetics on that Two-Face side of himself.
Yeah, no, I assume that's... I don't know if we're doing a cliffhanger. I would hope that they wouldn't, but I would say if there is a cliffhanger, it is probably something revolving Two-Face and maybe him fully transforming into that character that we know, leading into, you know, the second season. I don't know if Two-Face would be the main villain of the second season, or if it's another character that I feel like we may have set up this episode, which could be Stephanie's father, which I'll be honest, I really liked the Stephanie stuff this week. I think this was easily her best episode, I thought, without a doubt. I think it's all kind of been leading to this moment with her mother on, you know, taking all these extra drugs. She's always drunk, and this conflict. Obviously, she has this horrible home life. She has this outward appearance of like the rich, the you know, the attractive rich kid that gets whatever she wants, but obviously she's struggling with, you know, her mother not being there and her father being too busy for her and like gaslighting her. I do want. What do you think the father's angle is? Do you think he has an extra angle to be giving her all these drugs, or does he just think that's going to help her? Because that's the thing I've been confused about. Like, why? Because he can't be that dumb, right?
I don't know. I feel like in many ways what he's saying is very true. Is he just wants to preserve this family image. Like, he wants to, you know, make the outside world believe that, you know, there's this perfect home life and everything like that. He's just, you know, the host of the quiz bowl and everything like that. I think that's kind of his angle there. I don't really think that there would be like a Court of Owls connection. I mean, it's possible, but I feel like really that's the reason why he's been doing what he's been doing. But the fact that he has been arrested for everything that's been going on, he's gonna, you know, probably end up going to Blackgate or to Arkham or whatever. this could lead us to getting a full-on Clue Master at some point next season, whether he be just kind of like a villain for a couple of episodes or a larger overarching threat. It'll be definitely pretty interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, no, he's kind of been my number one pick for season 2. And not saying Cordoval can't still be a factor, because we're 2 episodes in. It feels like we're not even close to like defeating them, I guess. But I think kind of gives me like Slade Wilson vibes from Arrow, where like season 1 we built up who Slade was and almost his origin, and season 2 you get to like explore him being the actual villain, and I feel like it could hit very hard. I think having the villain be like one of our characters' father can be very fun, and also I assume pretty cheap. Like the show can't do your full on Killer Crocs or probably even like I guess you could do like a penguin, but like he seems like he could be a relatively cheaper villain, and like stick to like the mystery vibe as well. If it if you go with him as a villain, if you want to keep up almost like this murder mystery idea with the show.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a good option to go down. And then I think maybe tying it into something that we actually did get to see in this episode, if you want to jump to that, is if we do have Clue Master be a villain, that could be how we get Stephanie getting her code name, I guess, as spoiler, and she would be spoiling all the clues and everything, just like in the comics. But in this week, we did get another character that got their code name finally. Harper was officially named Bluebird, which was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of going along with the Stephanie storyline, I really enjoyed the Harper storyline. I'm so terrible with names. No, I thought I'm a big fan of like ships if they're done right, and I thought them, especially in this episode, again very CW-ish, was very cute, was very fun. Again, I thought the scene with her kind of coming in and like yelling at the mom was like felt very real and very emotional. And I thought the scene when like they were like dancing together, as it was kind of silly, it gave me like Captain America, the Winter Soldier vibes when like Black Widow kisses Cap. And I don't know, I just thought they were kind of cute this episode.
Yeah, it was also cool to kind of see how Harper had obviously viewed Stephanie in this way, where kind of the way that Stephanie's father was trying to have the family be viewed as kind of like this perfect home life and whatever, but she actually got to see firsthand kind of how difficult she's having it, and kind of I guess maybe relate possibly back to how Harper was feeling within her own home life, and kind of come in there and find this like common ground between the two of them. And I think that connection there definitely brought the two of them closer for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's actually been written fairly well. I think a little bit better than our other relationship, if you will, in the term of Turner and Duella, which again, yes. I think they're very fun. I like the entire episode. It's just everyone being like, ew, this is disgusting. There's a scene where she's telling Carrie about like, would it help if I told you that Batman's son is banging the Joker's daughter? I thought that line was really funny.
Yeah, Cullen went out there and just told everybody.
No, I thought that was hilarious. And she's grounded too, which I thought was also kind of funny. Like hearing like, again, like we've never had like a Robin with parents before, so it's kind of fun seeing, oh yeah, I'm grounded. I can't go out.
Yeah, I can't. No Robin things tonight. I'm kind of grounded, but maybe I can save the city next week. Who knows?
Sure, absolutely. I wonder where we're going with that. Like, as a parent, how do you discipline a like vigilante? Like what's the like grounding permits for that?
I have absolutely no idea, but I feel like Carrie's gonna most likely find an excuse to get back out there and help them, because next week it seems like we're going full on Court of Owls confrontation for sure.
Sure. I wonder. I don't know if you ever watched any of the like Ben 10 stuff, but there's an episode in like early Alien Force where there's like a whole episode where his parents find out that he's a superhero and he's like, "You're grounded till further notice," and the whole episode is just them being like, "You're a hero and you're doing good stuff. All right, I guess you can go." And I wonder if that's kind of where we're taking the storyline.
Yeah, I think Carrie's just gonna have to convince her mom that she's not just like hanging out with a bunch of criminals, that they've actually been framed, and she's trying to, help them out and everything like that, and she's doing good, and she has done good things in the past and everything like that. So I think that's kind of gonna be the message that she has to get across to, be allowed to go back to the Knights.
Yeah, or she just sneaks out and she can't do anything. Like maybe she just lives with the Knights now. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be just living in the Belfry.
Actually, that's a good point, because Stephanie is probably going to go live over there now too.
It seemed like from that end scene, like she can't go back home now, so she's chilling in the Belfry too.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, that sounds kind of fun, to be honest. Just like hanging with friends.
Yeah,
a giant sleepover.
Where we're also running from the GCPD, but don't worry about that.
I actually do want to bring up Colin, because I think
Yeah.
he was really strong this week, and I think he's kind of like solidified himself. I don't know about my favorite character yet, but I think he's really strong, and I think like that end scene between him and
And Turner.
Turner.
Yeah.
Where it really sells home that the found family stuff that I love, and this like it doesn't matter how many times you like shoo me away, I'm not going anywhere, and like I might die trying, but like, and just I think the whole scene was so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really good.
Yeah, it was a very very nice moment. They're just broing it out there at the end. Like it was great. Like they kind of Turner has been, I guess, a little defensive the last couple of episodes. He's been finding out some stuff. He thinks Bruce is responsible for his parents' death and everything. He almost died. There's a lot been going on, and he doesn't feel like everybody's on his side. But it was nice having Colin kind of like reassure him, like, "Hey,
sure,
we're here for you. Like, we'll do anything to help you out, man." So. I think that was pretty nice.
Yeah, like he definitely kind of fell into his like bad boy thing this week with Duella, and having a decent night for himself, and him kind of like he's had an arc. I don't want to say arc, but like a thing this season where he kind of like teeters the line with wanting to be more like Batman, but also kind of bonding with Duella, and kind of have this like I'm gonna have a balance between dark and light.
Right.
And it seemed like this episode kind of anchored him a little bit going into these final two, and where he is kind of maybe ready to take on this battle and clear their names once and for all, maybe.
Yeah, I think you were right last week, where they were kind of seeming like they're trying to find this middle ground between Turner and Duella. Like Duella's maybe trying to push out a little bit of that craziness and kind of maybe find a little bit of a middle ground there, and Turner's trying to not be as like all uptight and everything, and trying to maybe loosen up a little bit, but he does still also have that very Batman-esque broody nature that has been brought up quite a bit. But I think leading into these last couple of episodes, he will kind of more so focus on the task at hand, which is taking down the court. Although we do still have that whole Batman possibly killing people, possibly not, in the background, and I have some thoughts on that. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but we did get a nice quote in this episode too, with Harvey saying something along the lines of, again, Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah,
is pretty much what he says, but.
Yeah, no, it's very clear that it's a storyline now. Like, I was concerned at first because it did just seem like, oh, he just kills in this timeline. Like, that kind of felt like what it was at first. But now that we've got into a little bit, it seems like it's going to be a thing where, like, oh, he actually didn't kill the Joker, and he didn't kill, both of our parents, and all these things. And I don't know if that's a season 1 wrap up thing or if that goes into season 2. I know you've been theorizing about, like, could we actually see a Bruce Wayne back to life type thing, and maybe that can prove all that. I don't know. Like, maybe we bring in Tentacles. I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, I still will never get behind any interpretation where Batman kills, and I think they're trying to make us think that he's killed the Joker or that he's responsible for the death of Turner's parents and everything like that. But it definitely, to me, seems more like a big misunderstanding.
Sure.
Maybe he feels guilty that he wasn't able to save Turner's parents, so he feels like he has killed them.
Yeah.
He chose similar, maybe, to Batman Begins with the Joker. I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you. So, something like that.
Sure.
But again, I think sticking with the whole Batman doesn't kill rule is good here, and it's nice to see at least that the show bringing it up 2 weeks in a row from 2 different characters as well was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm only for it if it's like strong Elseworlds, like if it's a clear part of this, like if it's established Batman doesn't kill and then okay, over here he does. That's when I'm semi okay with it, right?
Right,
like if
right,
it's
right.
if that's a part of the story that it's different because he does kill here, I'm fine with that. Like even like Titans kind of felt like that for me, where it's like, oh, this is a totally out there Elseworld type story where Batman kind of went insane and crazy. And like that's a show that always kind of felt like very on its own and separate, like a very weird DC universe. So yeah, but no, I agree what Levi is saying here. I really do think Turner is the weakest character. Like I was trying to think through the characters and I was like, I think you're right. Like he's the character I care about the least.
Yeah, and it's very weird too because he's supposed to be somewhat
character.
of our lead. Yeah, like he's supposed to be our lead, and I think a lot of that too kind of boils down to the fact that maybe they weren't allowed to use another Robin. Like he feels like he should have been Dick Grayson or a Jason Todd or somebody that was already established, but they were like, all right, you're not allowed to use any of these characters. The only Robin you get is Carrie Kelly. Like you can't use any other Robins. So they were like, okay, we got to make just this adopted son of Bruce Wayne, and he's not an established character in the comics, but we gotta somewhat make him different, but also kind of like draw inspiration from some of these other characters. And I think they're just not doing an amazing job at that.
Yeah.
I think he still has potential. Like there are times where I feel like his character is very good. Like I think in the episode where they were infiltrating the court, I think that was maybe his strongest episode. But then again, we kind of like take some steps back sometimes, and then just kind of like make him just this kind of like broody, somewhat of like a Bruce clone, but just like a Bruce clone without much personality.
Yeah, no, it feels very much like this is supposed to be Dick, but then like, all right, how do we make him not Dick? And I think you do that by taking out the like charm that was Dick Grayson. Like Dick is such a charming, charismatic character. And I think going into if we get a season 2, I do think that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, let's make him a more well-rounded character. And I even kind of look back at like Legends season 1 and 2, where season 1 Sarah is kind of bland to me. Like she's very like she doesn't have that personality she did from Arrow, because she's very like bloodlust and serious, and then going into season 2, as she does transform more into that leadership character, that lead character, she is a lot more fun, and she is a lot more stylish, which again, I think a show like this could only improve over time.
Yeah, and the show has been. I think the show has been improving week to week. I think
100%.
Quality wise, each episode is getting better, and I think just even in a behind the scenes aspect too. I think these episodes are being shot very well. I think each scene is being framed very well. I think the storylines and the setup and stuff and all of these character interactions are being done super well, and it's leading us to a very good point in the show. And I'm just sad that we only have 2 episodes left now.
I 100% agree. I think like those first 5, or I don't know, I think those first 3 especially are rough. I think they're really, really rough. I still enjoyed it enough, but like it wasn't anything. Like I understand people who maybe dropped off after episode 3 or 4, even 5, but I think these last 4 especially, I think have been solid television. Like it's solid TV. And again, it's no Breaking Bad or anything, but I think for what the show is given and this budget and like the controversy that it's gone up against, I think it's turned out into something kind of special.
Oh yeah, the show has turned out far better than I ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, oh, it's just, it's another Batman show without Batman. How good could it actually be?
Sure.
But I think the fact that the characters have been just the emotional core of the show itself, the fact that they've had this really good mystery with the Court of Owls, and the fact that they also don't, focus on maybe something that a lot of shows focus on, which is like big action set pieces, that type of thing, but they're really focused on the more interpersonal relationships, the mystery side of things, just the development side. I think that that's a very interesting way to approach the show, and I think they're doing a very good job of that.
Yeah, and I think CW's I think their strong suit has always been its characters. Look back into like early seasons, Flash, Arrow, even like Legends and Supergirl especially. Like the best stuff was always its character stuff, and the way we were able to spend 22 episodes a season like building up these characters, and then the story is like your second thought, and it makes those stories look a lot better. I think that was Supergirl's problem, is they were really, really good at writing characters. Those characters were great. They did not know how to write stories though, and they focused on stories instead of characters, and that's why some of their later seasons, in my opinion, weren't as good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when a show can do character and story together, and make that cohesion between them very strong, then the show itself will be much stronger for it than if it has like an imbalance and maybe has great character writing but not as good story writing, or great story writing but not as great a character writing.
Sure. Again, this was my favorite episode of the season. Do you agree?
I actually still think my favorite episode of the season, going back to that Court of Owls episode, I think that was 7 or 8. I can't remember which one that was, but whichever one was when they were infiltrating, when they were went to the Court of Owls party. I think that was still my favorite episode of the season. But this was another really strong one. I think all of these, like I said, have been very strong here.
Yeah, I'd say it's either this one, that one. I still think episode 4 is really good too. I think that was like, oh, this is like good stuff here. So yeah, with all that being said, unless you have any final thoughts on this episode or kind of these next final 2 episodes.
Yeah, I guess just the cliffhanger of the episode kind of bringing us back to Lincoln and Rebecca, and I guess the power dynamic there, as we kind of always assumed Lincoln March was the head of the Court of Owls, but it almost seems like Rebecca is actually the true voice of the court, and Lincoln is almost just another pawn in her overall master plan. So it seems like she's really the one pulling the strings, calling the shots here. She was the one that sent the Talon after Lincoln to kind of like draw away suspicion, that type of thing. So it'll be very interesting to see where that goes in the next couple of episodes. Based off of the trailer, it seems like her being a leader figure in the Court of Owls will be explored a lot more. And then obviously that relationship with Harvey, I'm not really sure where she stands on that, where he stands on that. I'm starting to think maybe she knows about this other personality of his, and again, maybe solidifying that theory that maybe she's the one that sent Harvey after Bruce, or the two-faced side of Harvey after Bruce, and that's what led to his death.
Yeah, no, I the whole voicemail end of the episode, There is this man, I assume she's just gonna use the voicemail to like blackmail him or prove him wrong. But like I was almost like when I first saw it, I was like, is she like getting off on like the voicemail about her being right or something, or like he's going to like protect her? Because like obviously they do have a very like, I don't know how one-sided that thing is. Like, is it like, are her and Two-Face like in cahoots, or
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Like they're both just like trying to just destroy Harvey's life from the outside or something. I don't know. Like I feel bad for Harvey. He's just like caught in the middle of all this, and just Two-Face has been controlling his life for so long.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
no.
Yep. And speaking of Talon, I know we're not going super deep into the trailers for next week, but we do see Talon again in the next week's trailer. So I'm assuming that's Brody Talon.
Sure. I also do want to say, I forgot. I thought it was a 1 week break, but it's a 2 week break.
Oh, it is a 2-week break.
So I don't know. I'm talking about for 2 weeks. I don't know. It might just be flat. It might just be that Flash movie for.
Yeah, well, Flash movie comes out next
week. Yeah,
yeah.
So it'd be next week, but
yeah,
it'd be the week prior. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we do. But yeah, that's all I kind of have for Gotham Knights. If you still have a little time, I do have a tier list here that I think would be kind of fun to dive into if you're
okay. Yeah, totally.
not in a
I'm down.
super rush.
No, I got nothing else to do. I'm just gonna probably go. Oh, he's gone. What happened? It's just me. I guess I'll hold down the chat a little bit until Darren gets back. I guess maybe talk a little bit more about this episode of Gotham Knights until he gets back. But I thought it was a really good one. I think, again, going into that Court of Owls speculation and stuff like that. You're back? See, I held it down. I literally said nothing, though. I said we're going to talk about Court of Owls stuff, but I didn't even get into that.
Oh, no. I accidentally closed my tab.
You're good.
And I freaked out for a second because I was like, does that like stop the stream?
I don't know. It didn't. I'm still here. You're still here.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, let's move into a couple weeks. I meant to do this last week, but we ran over and I didn't want to keep you too long last week, even though this stream's going to end up being longer than last week. But no, yeah, the Flash has been over for a couple weeks now. Super sad. And obviously we've had a handful of final season for DC TV shows. So I put together about 10 DC TV shows that have ran 3 or more seasons. Not all of them. There's a lot that I didn't add, obviously, from the older stuff. But I have 10 DC TV shows here. They kind of cut off everyone's heads, so I apologize for that. But I have Arrow, I have Legends of Tomorrow, I have Black Lightning, I have Gotham, I have Titans, I have Batwoman, I have Stargirl, I have Smallville, I have Supergirl, and I have The Flash. I thought it'd be fun to rank on this tier list here what we think who had the best final season and where would we put these. Have you seen all of these shows? Yeah, just the final seasons. Yes. I think at some point
the only final season I haven't seen is Black Lightning, actually.
Okay. Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, because funny story about that. That was like that was a show that shout out Mom. That was a show that I watched with my mom, and then we both kind of like dropped off of it, and then we never kind of like coordinated watching it again. So we kind of like dipped after like the beginning of season 2 or like end of season 1. But I kind of have a general idea of what happened.
Okay. I'd recommend watching 3 because I think that's the best of the show, and then don't touch season 4.
Yeah, I've heard some not so great things about season 4.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's. I'm just pulling up the chat on my phone because I can't see it over there. All right, so let's start off with Arrow. Let's start off, and of course, we have to find a agreement on one, right? Like you can't if I say let's say I think Arrow is an F and you say it's an A, we'd put it at like a C or a D. Yeah. Alrighty.
Find some common ground.
Sure. I think that's the fun of these is being able to let's see where it lands. So Arrow, the final season of Arrow, I'd say probably the most iconic out of all of these, just because it wasn't just a final season. It was like the first Arrowverse show to end, of course, but also like Crisis on Infinite Earths, like a 10-part miniseries almost. What did you think of the final season of Arrow?
I thought it was really strong. It's one of my favorite final seasons of a show. There's only one other final season that I would most likely rank above Arrow.
Okay.
And we'll get obviously we'll get to that one. But I think it's definitely up there.
Okay. So are you feeling A, or are you feeling like a B?
It depends. Are we putting multiple shows in the same category, or
Yeah,
is it...
yeah.
Okay.
There's what, 6 categories. There's about 10 shows here, so some would have to double up for sure.
Okay, so that I would feel very comfortable putting it in an A tier. For
Okay.
sure.
I think I would put it in B personally, but I'm totally fine with A. I'm totally okay putting it in A, because I do think there's some really good stuff here.
I think if we had an S tier, like A,
Sure.
A would be perfect for it.
Yeah. Levi also says A, so yeah, I can vibe with
Yeah.
A. I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like Arrow season 8 less than most people, but I still enjoy. Like, I think it's still like top 4 of Arrow. Like, I think it's a pretty solid time. So next up here we have Legends of Tomorrow. Now Legends of Tomorrow didn't have a official final season, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a very canceled final season. But like, weirdly enough, I still think it kind of works as like, if you have a different ending, it kind of works as a final season. Like, you still have your like 100th episode. You still have like, it felt like the whole season kind of felt like there was an arc of like them learning to move on and maybe leave this life almost. And then kind of the ending was like, yeah, actually, screw that. We're going to do this forever. So what did you think of the final season of Legends?
I thought it had good moments. Legends definitely fell in quality for me in those last couple of seasons. Like, it never became like unwatchable or anything like that. It just wasn't nearly as strong as, like, say, the era of, I think, seasons like 2 through 5, 2 through 4 were really, really, really strong for it. But for this one, I would probably say somewhere around like C to D tier, somewhere in that aspect. Even though there were some really good episodes, like this final season did have that Fixed Point episode, which has even came back in Flash and everything like that as a concept, and so I liked that for sure. But one episode doesn't put it over a lot of other things.
Weirdly enough, I prefer this over Arrow, which is probably one of my biggest Arrowverse hot takes. I really like Legend season 7. I think there's some episodes near the back that don't quite work, but I think this is the first out of the back half of Legends where I generally really love it. And I think it's just because I finally kind of understood the shit. Like, it took me, I think I hate season 4 and 5 so much because it felt like I lost the show I loved. Because it literally transformed into a completely different show. I thought season 6, I slowly started to get into it, and then by season 7, I'm like, oh, I actually really am enjoying the show that it finally became. It's no seasons 2 and 3, because I think those seasons are like so good. Like, I really do. They're so good. I probably would have put it in a B. And you said C or D. So are you okay with like a C, like at that middle ground?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, I think C is a pretty solid place.
Yeah, I'd be good with C or B. It doesn't. It's not a big deal to me. But I think wherever you feel it's a best fit for you. I know you said that you would even rank it above Arrow. So like, if you want to bump it to B, I'm good with that.
I'm okay with C. I think I think Arrow for me has those couple of episodes in the back half with like the whole backdoor pilot and stuff that I think drags down season 8 of Arrow for me. And I almost think I was a little disappointed with some of the earlier episodes. Not because they were bad, but I did have like such high standards, I think, for the final season. Again, I still think Arrow season 8 is great, but I generally do just really enjoy Legends. So you said you haven't seen the final season of Black Lightning.
I have not. No.
I think this one's pretty bad. I think it's
I will take your word.
it's not great. And I think coming out of season 3, which season 3 of Black Lightning's in my top 10 Arrowverse seasons, like I think it's really, really good. And then season 4 kind of like it's very apparent that like behind the scenes stuff, there was something going on. There was drama, felt like there was a budget decrease. There is obviously it was COVID, so that played an issue, and all this drama. I don't like putting things as an F too often.
It sounded like an F tier to me.
I'm trying to look at the rest of these shows. I'm fine putting in F and then maybe moving it once we kind of have the full range of everything else.
Yeah, looking at everything else, I don't think that there's anything else I'd put that low, honestly.
We'll see. I think there's one for me that's lower, but we'll get there. So Gotham, season 5 of Gotham. I'm having a hard time fully remembering what happened in the final season of Gotham, but I do remember it being a pretty fun final season. Did you watch Gotham?
Yes, I did. I was a big Gotham fan. Big Joker speculation guy. Loved to, all the different versions. Jeremiah, Jerome, Cameron Monaghan, just as that version of the Joker was great. I have some fun memories watching Gotham. So
yeah, and then they did that like flash forward episode.
Flash forward, yeah,
and Bane and like Nowhere Land and
No Man's Land.
Yeah, that's right. Where do you think you would place Gotham season 5?
I mean, I think it's solid B tier in my mind.
Okay, all right. I would probably either go with the B or C. So I'm fine with B. I can vibe with the B. I think Gotham's a very silly show. It's a crazy show for sure. So I will say I think it's a step down from season 4, which I think is the best of Gotham. Like season 4, it was so good.
Season 4 was really good. B for Batman.
Okay, yeah. I think I can vibe with B. I think that's a solid B. So next up here we have Titans, which I'm pretty sure you like Titans more than I do. I think you're a decently Titans fan, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had my issues, I've had my ups and downs with this show, but overall, I enjoy it quite a bit. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think
I'll defer to you on this one. I know you've deferred to me on a lot of them. I'll let you.
I don't know. I think I'm not a huge Titans fan. I think overall it's a pretty messy show. I'd probably go with D if I'm being honest with you. I think it gets pretty messy at times. But still some really good stuff here. Like I think this was my favorite season of Titans, weirdly enough. But I sometimes, I would settle for either a D or a C. I could settle. I wouldn't go for B or an A, but I could settle for a C, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could go C or D either way.
Okay.
I think this show definitely had some strong aspects. I think something that brought it down in this final season was just that wait in between the first and second half of the season. I feel like it would be a lot better of a watch on a binge. But I have not gone back to watch it on said binge, so I could not say for certain.
Yeah, I think there are those certain episodes that do bring it up for me. Just like, that Gar one, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think having the like Doom Patrol there, and I think that proves my dislike of Titans is when the Titans episode is one of my favorite episodes, just because I enjoy watching the like Titans, or I mean the like Doom Patrol play, because I love that show so much. Which maybe I should have waited to do that because that finishes up in like hopefully a couple months. But what would you say, C or D?
I mean, I'd say probably solid C. But
Okay.
if you feel partial to D tier, I would not be.
I can settle with C. I think I would go for D, but I can definitely settle for
Yeah, we need like
C.
an in between, like a C
Yeah, I
C
know.
minus tier.
Maybe I needed to like add the S here just to range
Or
this list.
we can
up
like
a little
we're
bit.
ordering them, so it's C minus
Sure.
because it's after the Legend season.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Then we have Batwoman season 3. You watched the show, right?
Yeah, I think season 3 might have been the strongest season of the show entirely.
I agree. I really liked season 3. I think for me the heights of 2 were I enjoyed the heights of 2 more, but I think season 3 was a more consistent all the way through season.
Yes, it was definitely a more like cohesive all the way through season. Season 2 was definitely a lot of like retreading of season 1 stuff. It felt more like a season 1 repeat because they obviously had to introduce Ryan Wilder, establish this new Batwoman and everything like that. So you were definitely going to have those drawbacks in season 2. But with season 3, it felt like they really finally found their footing. They found what they were trying to do with the character of Ryan Wilder as Batwoman and everything like that. So I thought it was a really solid season 3. Not so much a great final season, but if it was going to be the final season, I thought it was still pretty strong.
So where would you put it?
Probably either B or C tier.
I think I'd say B.
Yeah.
I think I would try to go for B. B for Batwoman. So
yes, B for Batman, B for Batwoman. Perfect.
Alrighty. Next up we have Stargirl. I think I know where you'd put this, but I'm curious to hear.
Above everything else on this entire list. Up at the top.
Is there a way to add? Is there a way to
Can
add?
Can we add S tier?
I don't know. Ugh. Oops. I hope I didn't. Here, hold on. Let me stop sharing real quick.
Yeah.
Let's try and I'm gonna try and see if I can readjust this.
If you can't, we'll just keep it in front of Arrow there, and then
sure. I know there is a way to edit. Yeah, that'd make sense.
I know you're not looking at chat right now, but Levi just said controversial take. Did not love Stargirl season 3. Interesting.
Oh.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I thought it was really strong. I thought it was a really good season. I loved the kind of like murder mystery investigation. I can definitely see why you might not have thought it was as strong of a season, maybe as like season 2 or something like that. Would it be my favorite season of the show in general? I'm not sure. I might still have to say season 1 might have been my favorite season, but in many ways I think season 3 was the highest quality season, the most well laid out season, and I really do like the finale for season 3 as well. I think it ended in a really good way, especially for not really knowing until you went into it that was going to be the final season. I think they wrapped things up quite well in that regard.
Yeah. No, I just give me. I did it and then it didn't take, so now I gotta. No, I fully agree. I think it's not my favorite. It's tough. I think 1 and 2 go back and forth. I mean, 1 and 3 go back and forth because I think Stargirl is basically a perfect show in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And season 2 still being good, but kind of being that outlier.
While you're still setting that up, Levi goes on to say, there is stuff that I liked enough to be okay, but I got bored in some areas, especially towards the end. I was disconnected from a lot of stuff. That's interesting. I think it did maybe drop off a little bit towards the end. I feel like the final wrap up with defeating all the villains, I think bringing Icicle back in too was a little bit maybe contrived, if that's the right word to say. It did kind of feel like a little bit out of left field to bring that character back. I liked it, but it could have been a little bit stronger for sure. But I think they did the best that they could with the hand that they were dealt, especially finding out so late in the game that was the final season.
Sure. Yeah, I liked him coming back because it almost did feel like you're almost like it was so kind of scary how perfect it ended up being as a final season. And I almost wondered how what would you have done if it wasn't. So yeah, okay. Now we kind of got to rearrange you. So you would
Yeah,
say
you're good. Yeah,
Stargirl would be S.
Stargirl S.
Yeah.
Arrow back in A. Legends was
Would you do that
C.
B or
Or
C?
yeah, we can throw it in B
Okay.
because we have that extra tier now. Gotham stick in B. Black Lightning, throw that back down enough just for fun.
Yeah. We
And
did
then,
Titans.
Titans, I believe C.
Yeah, it was C.
Yep. And then
yeah, that looks
Batwoman
right.
was B for Batwoman.
Yeah, I think that looks
Okay,
pretty good.
we're good. We're back in business.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with Stargirl though. I thought it was such a good final season and just proved how much I love the show. I loved getting I think Stargirl coming, or I think Starman like coming in and being such a prominent force was so good, and that that ultimate ending, like I think that's the perfect ending for the show almost. Is that like the whole like museum scene.
Yeah, and the sentiment of never the end was also very nice. Very emotional ending, I think.
Very much so. I think it's the show I'm going to miss the most. I think out of all the shows, because like I think that, and if Superman and Lois doesn't get an extra season, but even like I think Stargirl is a much tighter show than Superman and Lois is. Like as good as Superman and Lois is, they're like each season. I won't say season 1 because I thought season 1 was almost perfect, but like seasons 2 and 3, as much as I have loved it, I think there's like little like nitpicks that can be like, that could have been a little neater, and that could have been done a little bit better, but it's still good.
Oh yeah. No, there was also Levi did also bring up the fact that there was stuff that was brought up in season 3 that we didn't get to see in season 4. I definitely see that aspect. There was a lot of stuff that was set up. I know with Mr. Bones and all that side story. Things with Jade Green Lantern that was set up as well that we'll never get to see the end of. Like that is obviously disappointing. I felt like Stargirl definitely had a lot of potential, but I still am very content with the ending that we got though.
Sure. So next up here we have Smallville. Now Smallville is a little difficult because it has been a couple of years since I finished Smallville. What's your history with like Smallville?
I've seen clips. I've seen the end scene of the final final season. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of good Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor clips and stuff like that, but I have not fully committed to going and watching the full thing yet.
Interesting. Well, and now we have to do a whole 10-season binge with you.
Yes, and then check in after each season.
No, I love the show a lot. So it's just me on this one then. I love Smallville a lot. I think season 10 is one of their better seasons. I think that's saying something too, because 10 seasons is a lot and it's hard to, and there's a lot of not great stuff in Smallville, but then there's also a lot of great stuff in Smallville. Like it's a mixed bag, but I think it always kind of, I don't think the show ever gets bad. Like I don't think the show ever gets like really terrible or anything like a lot of these shows sometimes do. I think it's a pretty great ending with how we end Clark's character, and like as we transition into the character that he does become. I don't want to spoil, if you ever go back and check it out. I would put it on par for me. I would probably put it before Arrow, but after Stargirl, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So going into our other super friend, I guess, we have Supergirl. What did you think about Supergirl's final season?
Definitely one of the weaker seasons of Supergirl for sure. I think 3 and 4 were the 2 strongest seasons, which just so happened to be back to back. I think we were definitely in an interesting spot at the beginning of season 6. We didn't have Kara for quite a few episodes. So that did make it pretty difficult. We did have those fun flashback episodes, though. Those were probably maybe my favorite episodes of that season when, or not flashback episodes, but time travel episodes when Nia and Brainy went back to like the high school days or whatever. But overall, it did wrap up the show in a nice way. And I think that 2-part finale was also pretty good, but just the overall core of that season was not quite as strong as I would have hoped for a final season.
Yeah, this is my least favorite season of a Supergirl. I think it's just it kind of just feels like 20 episodes of nothing. And there's so many issues. Like I know she was pregnant. I know there was COVID, and there was a whole bunch of things. And I think Mixie is probably one of the worst Arrowverse villains. I did not like where we took her. I think, it kind of falls into that like Flash issue where it does become a lot of just like Team Supergirl and not a lot of Supergirl. And I think it works better here because I do think their like supporting cast is really, really good. Like I'll watch this cast over the Flash cast any day, I think. And, like I would have watched a spinoff with some of these characters. I think, there's definitely like I would have loved a Dreamer show or something,
Yeah.
So and I think like that episode, those time travel ones were really, really good.
Right.
And
right.
I think the series finale, the first half is kind of rough, but I really do like how we end Kara's character. And I like how, I don't want to get into fandoms, but like those fandoms were really toxic. And I think there's something that I loved about like neither of them won, like both sides kind of lose, and we get to end it with like Kara just being happy because she's found who she is. And like and at the start of the show, like that's kind of what the opposite of what it was. Like it was such a hard sell on like romance and like couples and ships and stuff like that. So to end the show with her not being in like a thing for like 3 years is really telling, I think. So I personally put it above Black Lightning.
Yeah.
I'd probably put it in I'd say E for now. I think these bottom three I think are kind of on the same level.
I see exactly where we're putting things. That basically just slots Flash into D tier pretty nicely.
Yeah,
I think I think that's honestly where I'd put it, because I mean there were 3-4 episodes this season that I loved, and then the rest were just kind of,
Yeah, I don't know which one.
9.
You'd say D then?
Yeah,
for
I'd say D for sure, for most likely. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I almost like
ahead.
Supergirl and Black Lightning more than Flash, I think.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Like those bottom three are like flipping.
I
for
mean,
me,
I'd be okay with putting Supergirl in D and then Flash in E.
That's kind of where I'm
final
leaning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard because Flash had the Arrow crossover episode.
Yeah, I think that's
episode 10 too.
That is the thing that's putting it above it for me. I think it's just the cast being better on Supergirl that really holds it above. Like, I'd rather sit there and watch Lena and Kelly and Alex and Dreamer over like Cecile and Mark and Keown and all those guys, I think.
Yeah, I'd say whichever one you're more likely to go back and rewatch, I would say put above the other.
That's tough too, because I want to go back and rewatch that like Oliver episode. Like I'd rewatch. It's weird. I would go Flash episode 9 and 10, then Supergirl season 6, and then the rest of Flash. Oh, I don't know. Whatever one you want to do, we can go with. I'm fine with that because they're all kind of at the same. You know what? I'm fine putting them both at E.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Nothing in D
level.
tier. Nothing in D tier. Cool.
D can.
All right.
No, I think that's pretty okay. Unless you want to slide some of the topper stuff down a bit. So if you want to, we could put Titans in D and then Batwoman in C, just to kind of average it out.
I mean, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. I don't want you to be like, it's in D. No. I didn't.
No, I don't. I do not mind. I do not mind.
Just to kind of like ravage out the scale
Yeah,
a
there.
little
It looks
bit.
a little more uniform now.
Sure. Yeah, I mean...
Definitive final season ranking that definitely won't be changed 5 minutes after.
No, this was... I think final seasons like DC TV is kind of tough. Just because, I think the longer these shows go, it is kind of hard to maintain those early season like greatness. And of course, a lot of these were in COVID or were canceled, or like this final season of Titans was clearly not supposed to be the final season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these seasons weren't originally planned to be the final season.
Sure.
Like, I think the only ones that really went into it planned as the final season from the beginning, Arrow, Gotham, kind of The Flash, but kind of not because Eric Wallace wanted season 10.
Sure.
You know, I mean, Supergirl, they were planning on maybe doing a season 7 without Kara.
So
You know, obviously Stargirl had a lot more stories to tell. Obviously,
Yeah.
Legends had more stories to tell. Titans certainly had more stories to tell as well.
Black Lightning
so-
as well.
Yeah.
They had plans up to 5 and 6. So yeah. And then of course there's the shows that didn't even make it past one season. Like I didn't want to put like Naomi or Constantine and then again there's some that are yet to finish. So maybe at some point we can kind of go back and fill in some of the spots with like
Right.
Doom Patrol. I know you don't watch that show, but like Super and Lois is coming up if that's their final season. Harley Quinn maybe in a couple years. I'm not really sure. So yeah, no, this was fun. I feel pretty confident about this for now, I think.
Yeah, I'd submit that.
But with that all being said, I want to give a big thank you to Taz for being here for 2 hours and 40 minutes. That is insane.
Was it longer than our first stream?
Let
It
me
might
look.
have been.
It's close. It's around. I think they were both around 240. Let me scroll down because we've been doing this for a minute now.
Yeah.
That was 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Oh,
so we have preceded
it. We've broken the record yet again. Next time we'll try for 3.
Try for 3 hours. by a Halloween, we'll get up to like 8 hours. It's fine. But no, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who popped in today and chatted with us for this long time. Levi, you've been here since like hour, like 2 minutes in. So I appreciate you staying here and chatting with us.
Chat MVP.
I took over the chat except be happier. Yeah, no, I love doing this, Gal. I've been having such a blast doing streams these last couple months. I think they're just a fun way to interact with people and make friends too, because I've made so many friends over these last couple of months. It's been a blast. But Taz, thank you for being here. Do you have anything that you want to shout out? Do you got any upcoming projects?
Just I have my Flash finale video that I put a lot into. That's live on the channel right now. If you guys haven't seen it yet, definitely go check that out. And I'm working on my Gotham Knights episode breakdown for this week's episode 11, while we wait, I guess, 2 weeks until the next one. So that will be there for all of us to speculate and theorize on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I always like your breakdowns. I guess I never really need to rewatch stuff because I think you do such a good job at breaking everything down. But yeah, again,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, and of course I have my personal stream planned for Friday with my friend Arkanize as we break down Across the Spider-Verse. I'm very excited for that. Potential watch party either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not quite sure. And I'm not sure what next week looks like. There's a potential Flash villain ranking list happening, potentially Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know what we're doing in place of Superman and Lois. Maybe we'll do nothing. I'm not sure. I gotta see what pops up, I guess. But guys, thank you so much for watching and chatting with us. It's always a pleasure. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.